means that a session which had looked a bit wayward suddenly looks all right, because although the West Indies bowling wasn't necessarily, well, the opening pair weren't very good, England didn't make hay. 29 runs was a pretty meagre return.
Well, yeah, it was only an hour though. Oh my word, first ball after lunch. Zach Crawley's just tickled one round the corner. Ross and Chase takes a second wicket. That's disastrous. Did he not see the man round the corner? He was there just for that. He's just tipped it off his pad, straight into his hands. Zach Crawley has only lasted one wicket, and I'm going to say this to him.
Fuck off! Just fuck off!
That's poor, man.
Yes, well, he's on a hat-trick.
Bye, mate.
It's the first morning of a test match where the ball's not really turning, and he's got 2 wickets. It's a crazy way that cricket goes. I didn't even have a chance to play his jingle. It's a bit of a shame.
He goes really jingleless.
He does indeed. But it does bring Captain Fantastic in, and hopefully he can arrest this mini slide.
His voice is high-pitched and ginger hair like a pict, but massive runs he has hit, so there's that. Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root, actually.
Nice to have that jingle back.
I love that bit at the end. Yeah, I mean that was a really poor shot before lunch, and a terrible one straight after it.
Yeah.
So should I be the one to say, Denley haters, what happened to your boy Crawley?
Well,
I think you're the first one to say.
I mean, that's just terrible. I mean, did he not know the man? He must have known the man there. I mean, it's a spinner. All you have to do is look round the corner. You can't play that shot. Well, you've got to get right over it. And it is an easy way to get out. I mean, you see that. But it's a really cheap wicket as well. I mean, it's not threatening anything. You're just giving your wicket away.
So Root comes back to a hat-trick ball then.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Imagine if Captain Fantastic is the hat-trick. Oh my God. Mash will be in extraordinarily happy land, and I'll be crying.
I'll be happy too.
Well, hate to be positive, guys, and girls, this is in the bag. West Indies taking this home.
Well, I bet on the West Indies. Oh, and he's done the same thing. He's clearly bowling for it. He's got a leg slipping. Obviously, he's bowling down the leg side, trying to get him to clip it round the corner right into their hands. You just got to leave it, man. But he didn't. He chased it with a bat. It's hard. First of all, you want to feel bat on ball, and it is an innocuous one down the leg side. So, again, the only thing you're going to do is give your wicket away by playing it into that man's hands. That's a similar sort of line. Clearly a plan. He just stands up. There's a bit of turn there, actually. I mean, it's considering they've only been out on the wicket for an hour. That one did turn.
They're going to have to leave him on, aren't they?
Well, yeah, the thing is it's turning from quite straight. Is it going to turn from out wide? Well, it did there as well. This is interesting already, isn't it? He just played that into the leg side. And that ends Ross and Chase's eventful over. He's got 2 for 1 in 1 over. After the seamers were pretty innocuous, it has to be said, this morning. And a lot of wayward stuff. I think maybe overexcited from the last test, but I think more than anything, tired. Actually, I got the impression that Shannon Gable looked quite stiff for his first couple of overs. Yeah. I mean, it's only a 3-day turnaround. I mean, I'm surprised. Even with back-to-back tests, usually it's a 4-day turnaround, isn't it? Usually in the summer we start on a maybe not. We
started on a Wednesday, didn't we?
Yeah, and on a Sunday. No, that's right. Actually, it is a 3-day turnaround. I thought it was a 4-day turnaround. From the other end, straight after lunch, we're going to have this man.
He ain't no dope, he ain't no weed. That Kemar Roach, he deals in speed.
There goes Kemar Roach.
We shall get some tweets in shortly as he's up to the crease now. Bowls first ball, 2 wide of the off stump and left alone, no run. If they bowl as bad as this, Chase is going to have to bowl a lot of overs.
Yeah. Interesting to see him so early on, isn't it?
It is indeed.
He's going to keep it on, yeah.
I mean, England are quite used to being 30 for 3, so at 29 for 2, we're ahead of the game in some respect.
Oh, absolutely. We should be pleased
We
with
should be
this.
pleased with this. Roach is up to the crease now, bowls. So again, it's a bit close to the stumps, but still no need to play for Sibley, and he leaves it through.
He likes to leave them when
Darwick.
they're close to the stumps, doesn't he?
He does. He's I quite, I don't mind that in an opener.
Yeah.
I did want my number 3 to a bit more pacey than Denley has proved to be. I mean, I did notice in the last test actually, when it was getting up to around 50, 60 overs, we really didn't have enough runs on, because you really want to make hay before the new ball came along. And we didn't seem to have progressed far enough to be able to do that. Oh, driven at! Oh, possibly dropped. I'm not sure if it's a bump ball, but driven at by a wide one by Sibley. It squared off the outside edge, and I'm not sure if it went into the ground and through second slip, but it was certainly at a catchable height as it went through slips. And let's have a look. No, it's a drive and it's aerial. It's quite low and quite fast. No, it bounced just before Jason Holder, who's standing at second slip, burst through his hands. Looked like it hurt. It's not particularly warm.
Hurt his thumb, I think.
Yeah, and went off down towards third main. Took enough pace off it. They only got a single. Yeah, it bounced just shy of him.
Right on the end, isn't it?
Yeah, that's painful. Yeah. But he doesn't ask for the magic spray.
He's got big hands, hasn't he?
Yeah, very big hands.
Fine.
He's huge, man. What is he, 6'7"?
So massive.
He's massive.
Must be 6'7". What is he, Mash? Come on, you must know.
Root. Oh, that's come back quite a long way. There's a big appeal for OBW. It's hit him outside the line. He's got a long way outside the off stump. It might well have come back to hit the stumps, but that's a good movement across.
Oh.
Well, they're going to review. I don't think that's a wise review. I think he's got well outside his off stump there. We'll give a little jingle. It's a bowler's review, and it goes a bit like this.
That was out, that was out, that was definitely out.
Was that definitely out?
I don't know.
Well, it's not a no ball. So now it just remains to be seen where it hit him. I thought he shuffled across outside his off stump by quite a way, and I would say that's the case.
Yeah.
Well, it was given not out, and there's no way that's anything but the best is umpire's call. I think it's definitely clipped the front pad. Yeah. And that's outside the line.
Outside the line, yeah.
So that will be given not out. It's quite a long way outside the off stump as well. It didn't look right when they appealed. I guess the third review is quite interesting, because they've been both sides have been a lot more prepared to review, because they know, man, if I waste one, I've still got 2 left, which is what they used to.
Complacent with their reviews.
Well, it does give you that extra edge, doesn't it? Because I mean, when Rory Burns was out in the first test, we thought, well, you shouldn't bother reviewing that, and they even ummed and ahed, and that was the first wicket fall that started everything off. Roach in bowls again, too far outside Sibley's. Root's facing out off stump. They just do the keeper and there's no run. And so they kind of did.
People do rely on the umpire's call a lot, don't they?
Well, they do, exactly. But when you've only got 2, you kind of think, well, if I get it wrong, I've got 1, and then it's hard. But you lose 1, you go, oh, I've still got 2 left. I can still take a chance, you know. And then I'll be really miserly with my last one if I lose them all. Makes it interesting.
I guess they wanted to get Root early.
Well, of course, who wouldn't? Last ball of the 15th over, and Root plays that square into the offside. There's no run. Of course, this will be his first properly competitive, apart from Stokes versus Butler 11s.
Yeah.
Which didn't have first class status, did it?
No, I doubt it.
No, I think they thought about it, but they didn't give it to him. Who's on social media out of you two?
Yes. We both are.
Okay, give us some.
Oh no, sorry, you are Matt.
Alright, thank you. Messi Jez says, so the discussion about whether Root should bat 3 or 4 becomes entirely irrelevant.
Well, that's the reason he bats at 4, because 3 is irrelevant. And until 3 doesn't become irrelevant, it's not really a question. Anyway, carry on.
Jersey Jingle says, Bear sounds like he's calling into a radio show and he has his radio on. Is it because Mash isn't wearing headphones? I think that's the crowd atmosphere in the background, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the crowd in the back.
I don't know why that would be.
It sounds. I think the crowd are a little bit louder than normal.
It's difficult because what goes out of there you don't hear in the studio. That's defended into the leg side by Sibley, and there's no run. I can't even.
Sounds like a bit like you're in a pub.
Well, you guys do too, actually, in here. Do you not get it? Do you get a crowd noise in your ear? I presume you do.
I've got it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Ross and Chase. Oh, that's quite straight. There's half an appeal there, probably going down leg. He is bowling very straight. Get them to work it round to that man at leg slip. One of these slides on and doesn't really turn. Not turned enough though, and they're getting well forward. Dowrich is giving it away rather by going down the leg side. Right comes Ross and Chase. Third ball of the over. That's straight outside the off stump. Doesn't turn as much, and Sibley gets right forward. Defends it out to mid wicket.
He's definitely asking more questions than the pace, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, which is quite surprising. Comes in, fourth ball of the over. Again, it's thrown up outside the off stump, which doesn't look nearly as threatening currently. And there's no run. Sibley settles down. There's a man just behind square. There's a short leg and a square leg. And it goes to him, and they've gone through for a quick single, and it went straight to the man, and he was only by the umpire. But they got through quick enough. The new slimline Sibley was able to race up to the non-striker's end.
I love the slimline Sibley. I think it works well, doesn't it?
He's very barrel-chested, though, isn't he? Even
Not more barrel-chested.
Yeah, more barrel-chested, Annie. Yeah. It's the manly thing, isn't it? You know. Ross and Chase in bowls. Ooh, that's quite flat and straight. And Root does what Root does, which is, I don't really like him doing so much, but it does mean he can score quite freely against the spinners, and that's goes very deep on his stumps and plays off the pitch. I sometimes think that causes his downfall. As we once again watch Jack Crawley look forlornly as he flicks that straight to the man. Any more tweets?
Yes, Messi Jez says, this happy mash is extremely disconcerting. Lockdown has clearly resulted in a complete personality reversal.
More positive than happy, isn't it?
Tim Everingham says, evening gorillas, it's very convenient that the coverage now includes the ball speed in kph as well as mph. It does say the divide by 5 times by 8 trick for every ball.
Oh, now that's a decent ball by Roach. That's a much better line. Tight as the off stump, that fifth stump. Went a little bit in the air and straightened off the pitch. Sibley played the line and it beat his outside edge by quite some way in the end. Through to Dowrich. That's where he needs to be bowling. That kind
yes,
of line.
and certainly where he wasn't bowling to start with.
No, and neither was Shannon either. They were both pretty wayward. I thought Joseph bowled all right.
Yeah,
he was decent.
Yep.
Roach up to the crease in bowls straight, nicely clipped by Sibley. And that's what he's waiting for, the straight one, and he gets it. And they'll make it back for a comfortable 2. Takes Sibley on to 12 off 55 balls. Root yet to get off the mark. England on 33 for 2. I was about to say it's an empty stadium, but of course it's a bloody empty stadium.
Yeah, where are they all?
Where are they all, indeed. It's quite a nice stadium now, although the comms box there is horrible. There's like really long, thin rooms.
Oh, you went there, did you?
Yeah, a few times. That's left alone through the keeper and there's no run. Although it was fun watching India, New Zealand semi-final at the World Cup there.
I bet that was packed.
It was on the first day, of course. It was rain affected and went to the second day.
Yeah.
And that was the one time that Rohit failed, and they were something like 5 for 3, and it looked done and dusted, you know. And I don't think the Indian fans were really expecting that. There was a lot of very sad Indian people at the end of that day. Roach is at the end of his run. He's up to the crease now, bowls into the hip of Sibley, and he clips it again down to a deep square leg. And they'll come back for another easy 2. It does seem a plan with Sibley that they think propensity to feather it through and get strangled to the keeper.
He doesn't look in trouble with it, though.
No, he doesn't, but I think that's it. I think the analysis by Natter and stuff is his head goes slightly across and he just flicks it nonchalantly off his hip and just flicks it too fine a lot of the time because his head's just that little bit too far over. It's quite an expensive way to buy a wicket though, because he doesn't, it's not very often that he does it straight away. I mean, he got 40 odd last time before he did it. Oh, he got 50 and then he was out, wasn't he?
The ball after, I think, wasn't it?
I guess if you got 50 every innings and feathered it down the leg side, it'd be a bit of a boring career in one sense, but you'd have a test average of 50. Left alone outside the off stump by Sibley, and there's no run. One ball left in the over. Tweets?
Yes, indeed. Sorry, I was just trying to sort out Crick Track at the same time. Jersey Jingler says, nope, it's not the crowd noise, which is louder than usual. Bear sounds like he's in a cave, but then that's where bears live.
I don't understand why that is, but hey ho.
It's not coming through to me. Jay Grover says, I don't care about the result, I just want Butler to get a golden, so his reign of terror can finally end.
Is that just to annoy me?
Possibly, but I think you're giving up on him anyway, aren't you? Defended last
No,
ball
I'm
out
not
to
giving up
cover
on him.
and there's no run. No, you're not giving up on the blue-eyed wonder.
No, never.
What did you glean this week from your interactions with the West Indies camp, Mash?
For ahead of this test?
Yeah.
Generally speaking, that they're very confident. I don't think they would ever say it loudly, but I think they expect to win.
How brilliant for them to be feeling that way.
It's good.
Maybe that's why I'm confident.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
it's good.
as you said, they won 4 out of the last 6. So Root clips nicely, but straight to the man. To a pretty straightish mid wicket. There's a short leg, there's a leg slip, there's the man just behind square by the umpire at square leg, and then there's a reasonably straight and short mid wicket on the leg side. It's clearly a plan to bowl and get the clip in there, but that's too short. That's a poor ball. It's not a great timing shot, that has to be said, by Joe Root. He was aiming, it deserved to be slapped square to the boundary.
I think it came off the bottom of his bat.
It was rather an under edge as he tried to sweep it hard, and it went just past mid wicket. Out to, there is a deep mid wicket as well for the poor ball, I presume, or the one he dropped slightly short or over pitches that's clipped past quite close fielders. Austin Chase always looks, how old is he? He looks like he should be about 40. I'm sorry to say that, but
28.
is he only 28? It's a lot older than that. It's probably the baldness. That's again gone down the leg side, turned quite sharply. It's pretty flat and pretty pacey for a spinner. But Sibley couldn't get anything on it. Bounce off Dowrich's pad over Holder's head, and there's no run. No, it didn't. Sorry, it came off Dowrich's wrist.
Al Hotchkiss says that Burns' review was the worst review ever.
It was again.
Yeah,
I
it
think
was
I think he thought he was out, but he thought again this is the third review. It's like, oh, I can burn one, so I'll give it a shot. I'm an opener.
Yeah, no, it was foolish because he didn't go for it straight away, so you knew it hadn't hit the bat.
No, and it did look plumb.
Yeah.
You know, so anyway.
There's been worse reviews though. Maybe not in this match, but
yeah, true. I like the third review. I think it's been quite fun.
do you think we should keep hold of it?
Yeah, well, I was wondering if that was one thing that might happen after the series. It makes it more entertaining. Clipped into the leg side, mid wicket is up. So there's a sort of reasonably short, straight mid wicket and a more traditional mid wicket just in front of square. There's a man behind square. No, he's been taken out. Slip, short leg slip and short leg. He's gone over now to extra cover region. There's a mid off 2 and I presume mid on. That's wide because he's thrown that one horribly out wide outside the off stump. Too wide, too short. You can't bowl there to Rooty. He just steps back, cuts it down to a vacant third man area. Not enough pace to get it for 4, and it gets 2.
Yeah. I was having an interesting debate with somebody about whether the umpire's call should be scrapped.
Well, Messi did have a point on the impact thing. Roston Chase is in. Oh, again, I think there's a little bit off the face of the bat, but managed to get it down, Sibley. I think just to before Jason Holder. Leg slip, there's no one. I mean, the point is, the ball is tracked to the point of impact, so why is that umpire's call? It's either in line or it isn't. And even if some of the ball is in line with the stumps, that's in line, that is an umpire's call, because that's the ball tracked to the point of impact, and it's all scanned. So why is that umpire's call? The predictive element, that's kind of fair enough, I guess.
Yeah.
But there is no reason. I think it saved the blush of the umpires. Gives them 2 chances to be right.
You think that's why it is?
Well, I think so. It's not an easy decision to make an LBW. I mean, I've never given an LBW in a club game. I just assume it's either missing, they played it, hit it outside the line, unless they're right back on the middle, in those stumps, and it hits them shin high.
You've never given an LB?
Not in a club game, but usually,
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought
you
maybe
must
some
come
are
and
out.
umpire for us.
Well, yeah. Well, you are usually umpiring your home team, so that's kind of that's kind of the law. I have played teams. Roach is in bowls, and it's defended nicely by Root. Straight out to cover, there's no run. I mean, there are teams. I mean, I remember there's a team that we used to play. God, who were they? St John's down in Tooting. And the captain there was dodgy as hell, man. And he used to get his gardener, who didn't really understand the laws of cricket. And his gardener, we found out after the 3rd time we've been there, it's his gardener who's the fucking umpire. Gives him a little bat, and the amount of everything that hit the pads out. That was it. It was a horrible experience. And I think a lot of teams had a lot of problems with them. You got complaints to the league and all sorts. Was that live?
Yep.
I think it was, yes. It's been cut nicely by Root. Sorry, I thought that was going to be a replay of something previous. That's a beautiful shot by Root. It was a little bit aerial, but he hit it hard and it went through vacant. Well, it would have gone over a 4th slip. And it's raced away down the 3rd man boundary for the first one of these after lunch.
2 + 2 is on man. 2 + 2 is on man.
We haven't had a whole host of boundaries, have we?
No, we haven't indeed. It's 42 for 2, and here comes, oh dear, flashed out by Root. That's a flat-footed drive outside the off stumps. Good ball by Roach. It's quite tempting. It's in that corridor. Was a bit short. There was a little bit of width on it, but probably too close to approach that shot. Going away from him, flashed at it hard. Could have quite easily got a little snick through the Dowrich there. Fortunately, he didn't. I mean, if Root gets less than 30, Denley.
Yeah. Bring Denley back.
Bring Denley back. We're already on the bring Denley back bandwagon.
Wenger in.
Yeah. Root faces up, and this time wisely leaves that one. It's a little bit wider this time. A little bit fuller from Roach. And goes through the Dowrich and there's no run.
I wouldn't take any of these England batsmen apart from Root.
Wouldn't take
any of them in the West Indies team.
Really? You wouldn't put Stokes in your West Indies team?
Nah, he can't get an outside.
Really? Okay. Fine.
Yeah, he's a bit poor, isn't he?
Roach is up to the crease now. Bowls wide of the crease and angles it in at the stumps. Root just defends it out to cover, and there is no run. We need a big partnership. I think you've got to be looking to get above 300 in the first innings of a Test match. Ideally 350 and over, but I think 300 puts you in the game.
Yeah, definitely.
The pitch does look like it might well turn, so best might want to have a go, which is an unusual. I mean, what's the approach at Old Trafford? Presumably they're going to have 3 strips, these 3 central strips on this square, as Roach is in, bowls into the hip of Root, who just clips it around the corner behind square, and it's fielded, and they'll get a single. Presumably they've chosen the 3 central strips on this square, and they're all going to be prepared for the 3 Test matches coming up, because they can't use the same pitch again, one presumes. You can't do that in a Test match. You can't start on the 5th day pitch.
Pakistan Test?
Yeah, well, you got second test. The 3rd test of this series is here, and the first test of the Pakistan series is at Old Trafford as well. Are they going to try and prepare 3 different pitches? I'm sure that's really difficult. If they're next to each other on a square, but isn't that really hard? I mean, you've got to water the whole square the same amount. You can cut it slightly different. That's about it, though. So it should be quite similar pitches. Ooh, that's gone straight on. Didn't turn that time. Root went back, played for a little bit of turn. That's what I don't like about Root when he goes so deep in his crease. I prefer he'd gone forward to that one. I mean, it was given a little bit of air and tossed up a bit. Should be getting forward to that. Gets himself in a little bit of a tangle.
Yeah. Really
beats his outside edge. Darich takes it. Goes back to this one. This time turns into his stumps. But he drives it off the back foot straight at cover. And no run. 43
They're definitely going to persist with Chase, aren't they? Because he's
he's got 2 for 5 and he's in his 4th over.
Problems, yeah.
And he does have an 8-wicket haul against England. That's a nice shot though by Root. It's again hung up outside off stump, gets deep in his crease, cuts it back with a square. Nice timing. Someone did say that the outfield was a bit long, was why we took a while to get on. It's not racing across the outfield. It's gone down towards backward point boundary for 3 runs.
And if it's sunny tomorrow, which it's supposed to be, it will definitely get faster.
Well, someone sent in the weather report. It's not going to be as sunny up north as it is down south.
Of course not. It never is.
It never is. It's only going to be at 21 degrees. It's supposed to be 85 Fahrenheit down here, which must be high 20s.
Oh, probably not in Devon.
Chase in, 4th ball the over. Tosses that one up down leg side. Sibley clips it to the backward square leg.
I have a question for our Twitter, Rati and Facebook followers, Trafford and all sorts. Top 10 most innocuous spinners in the game. Chase is in there somewhere.
Quite a few. Root would be one, wouldn't he? Well, he's not really a spinner, I suppose. But
yeah, there's a qualification.
He bowls enough for that. That's down the leg side and left alone by Sibley, taken by Darich, no run. 1 ball left in the over. Now we should get some more of your tweets and social media.
For those who do tweet in to qualify, one sec.
Last ball the over, Fuller this time, clipped nicely by Sibley. Out to trolling in the deep on the leg side, and we'll just amble through for a single. Retain the strike. Over to you, Mash.
Yes, so if you are going to tweet in about top 10 most innocuous spinners, just to qualify, they have to bowl every match and usually about 10 overs.
So they can't be the part-timers, no?
Yeah, it can't be a part-timer. So anyway,
be club cricketers.
over on Crit Tracker, hello to Awais, Narasimha, Kirshan, Madhukar, who are all following along over on Crit Tracker, and
hello guys.
Over on Twitter in reference to Annie and Joss. Jay Grover says, Annie, yes, so his reign of terror can end. Positive Mash and a disgraced butler can only bring joy to this world, which is sorely in need of healing.
So disagree, Jay. Sorry.
Here comes Roach. He's in bowls and it's full and defended by Sibley up to mid-on, and there's no run.
Don't let me down, Butler.
Well, hopefully he won't. I mean, I do like to watch him score freely. He's doing it. So
I'm not sure what Bear's doing there.
No, he's making a funny noise. That's
plugging and unplugging things. Sorry.
That's okay.
That to happen. There's Shannon Gabriel here. Shocker this morning. Bowled 2 overs of pretty innocuous stuff. Roach in bowls, too far outside the off stump once more, left alone by Root. Sibley, and it'll be no run.
Gabriel's obviously struggling, isn't he, with something?
Well,
maybe like you say, it might just be tiredness.
I think it might well just be tiredness.
I think he was just stiff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, give him a
he was stiff in the last test, though. There was a spell where he looked like he was walking like a duck.
Yeah. I presume they've had a deep tissue massage on him all through the week.
What he needs is a hot tub with Phil.
With Phil, yeah. On the back foot, Sibley cuts it with not much power, and it dribbles through the offside, and it past cover, a bit of a toe end.
I felt great after mine.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. Any more tweets there, Mash?
Yeah, 1 second. Bear with me. Right, yes. So Nathaniel Furpy says, late night here in Melbourne, pretending the crowd noise sounds like rain.
Yeah.
It was lockdown in Melbourne, isn't it? On the back foot, Root pushes it out to the offside and there's no run. Melbourne's gone back to serious lockdown, hasn't it? Because of
they had a bit of an outbreak,
a bit of a flare up, didn't they? It's going to happen endlessly, this stuff. It's going to be very annoying. for the foreseeable future, really. Do you get it on the press conferences, Mash?
Yeah.
Is it all via Zoom, I presume?
Yeah.
Okay.
So usually about, well, it's a close place. It'll be about 7:30 tonight.
Okay. Left alone outside the off stump. There's no run. You got your question in about Cornwall then?
I did. So I basically said to Jason, in light of Shai Holt's poor form and Rakeem Cornwall obviously being a spinner, will there be any changes? And he just smiled at me. So I smiled back.
So you didn't find out anything then?
He dead battered you.
Yeah, basically. So you know.
Roach in bowls. Nicely played by Root. A straight bat. Just plays it out in the offside between point and cover. They'll get through for a single. Barely gets off the square. Yeah, they did say this morning that part of the reason it took so long for them to get out there was that the outfield took a long time to dry. It's a little bit longer than normal, which would imply that it's probably a little bit slower than normal as well. It might bring what you'd expect to get down by 20 runs in the first innings. But England need someone to get a bloody big partnership. We're going to be having a handover probably at the end of this over. Yeah, I guess so. Taking over from here will be Hendo, Tony and Knackle. Although Hendo is here. I have to admit him. I've got to admit Tony as well. That's a little bit too short, and Root sweeps that, get down on one knee. It's not going to make it to the boundary. Been chased down. There's the man with the two caps, Jermaine Blackwood, and one of them falls off.
Yeah.
We talked about earlier in the day, and they get back for a second.
And we've had our first innocuous spinner shout, Paul Harris.
Oh yeah, he was pretty innocuous.
So innocuous, I can't remember.
South African, wasn't he, Paul Harris?
Yeah.
Was he a frog in the blender, or was that? I don't know. That's driven out to cover and there's no run. The South African. He used to bowl leggies, but with head in the floor. That was Paul Adams. That was the frog in the blender. Clipped nicely this time. Good timing by Root, but they got a man out deep mid wicket. They think about two. Root's been sent back. Sibley doesn't fancy that, and so they'll just get the single.
So
yeah.
In reference to your umpire's call, Jessica says, I think umpire's call is to account for margin of error in ball tracking.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. If it hits the pad, there's no ball tracking. It's in tennis you don't have ball. You have ball tracking. And you have the path of the ball, and it's assumed it is correct.
Yeah,
so
it was
at the
kind
point
of what
of
you
impact,
were saying.
there's no predictive element. It's just tracking the ball. Clipped nicely by Sibley. It's a little bit short. Aimed at the stumps again. Bowling straight again is Roston Chase. Just jumps up enough for him to clip it to backward square leg and there's no run. I mean, this strategy, if they don't get it to man at short leg, there's a lot of spaces out on the leg side, and once the batsmen feel comfortable and get their iron, it should be quite easy to pick off singles. Two balls left in the over till the change, and Roston Chase is up, floats that one up outside off stump, and Root will feel he probably missed out there. That was a drive through the offside. It was a foolish half volley, but instead he just jabbed it into the ground.
I think that's enough of Chase now, isn't it?
Possibly. This one's straighter again, and Root just clips it to mid wicket. No run. End of the over. We're about to have a change. All changing here. Hendo's going to be on. Knackle's going to be on. And Tony's going to be on. I will see you later. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Bear. Goodbye, Bear. Thank you very much. I'm glad to have managed to not sort out my technical difficulties relating to my day job. Yet again, it's only taken sort of 6 months now and still not sorted. But I am back to do commentary, which is great news. It wasn't such great news when I looked up from doing various things on my computer to see that England had lost a wicket immediately after lunch. Poor old Zach Crawley had got a first baller caught at leg slip. And England at that point were 29 for 2. They've moved on to 53 for 2 now. Now, I just wanted to take MASH to task for something. It's really kind of indicative of how a week is a long time in cricket. I'll come back to that as Roach approaches, bowls to Sibley, who has a little dabble at one outside the off stump. It may have seemed away and is rather fortunate not to get a little thin edge through to the keeper. Now, last week, I think when we were doing the preview of the whole series, Mash was saying to me, I'll take Joe Denley. We want Joe Denley. Now, not only does Joe Denley find himself surplus to requirements for England, Mash is now saying he'll take no one, including Ben Stokes, from the England team. Extraordinary turnaround from Mash. How does he... Well, I'll have to get onto him and see how he justifies it. Roach in again, full, clipped away, nicely timed this time by Sibley. He's going to get one. He's going to walk, well, more or less jog back for a second, and England move to 55 for 2. We have Tony, who is doing tweet action. We have summarising from Knackle, who is now back in the studio. Hello, chaps.
Hello.
Hello, Hendo. I think it's the first time we've darkened the airways together this series.
Is it really?
I think so.
I've not been trying to avoid you. Not knowingly. Anyway, here comes Roach. None for 16 into his 8th over. He's looking for a first wicket in the series, would you believe? This is defended on the angle towards mid-wicket, and there is no run. Mash has got back to me. He says it's because it's in the bag, Hendo. I don't mind now. Yeah, I think that. I mean, how can Mash have gone almost overnight from the most pessimistic man in the universe to the most optimistic man?
He wasn't quite as bullish as one might think. I did ask him on our podcast that we did what he thought it was going to be, and he said, "We'll wrap it up at Old Trafford," but he wouldn't say in which test.
That's a very clever answer. In comes Roach again, bowls back of a length this time, and Sibley lifts the bat way above his head in leaving that alone. They remain 55 for 2. Any tweets or anything on social media for the time being, Tony?
Well, we certainly have some tweets, Hendo. Armchair Cricket Podcast talks about a stat seen on Crickbuzz. Roach has not taken a wicket in the last 62 overs and will want to get in on the out. Yes, he will. Jay Grover says Mash gave drop for something about COVID-19 via FIFA. I will probably skip through that one.
Okay.
Wait for after the next ball or two.
Here's Roach again, wide on the crease as ever, left alone once more by Sibley. Sibley has crept on to 21 from 75 balls. He definitely is an old-style batsman, opening batsman in that regard. Nothing more than just survival initially, his main focus. But, you know, as he gets more used to the pace of the pitch. The other thing I wanted to say about Roston Chase, a lot of criticism that he actually doesn't turn the ball. But I think he gets quite a lot of bounce, and probably more bounce than batsmen are expecting. Here is Roach into a lot of criticism that he actually doesn't turn. Depends on the back foot, and there is no run. 55 for 2, and I think that was indicated by the wicket that he got of Rory Burns in the second innings. I mean, it didn't spin. He went back, made room for himself. He might have been leaning back a bit. He probably would have got away with it had it not bounced as much as it did, and then he gave an easy catch to back point. So I think Roston Chase may be a little bit unfairly maligned. I think he's doing a really fantastic job.
Well, he's got a little bit of early slow turn, as evidenced by the wicket of Crawley, which I think he's around the corner.
I think he needs to go round the wicket, because it's turning quite consistently, and he's having to bowl quite wide of off stump for it to hit the stumps, or he's having to bowl it down leg. And with that bounce that he gets, he's 6'4", 6'5". That's all moot because we're having a change.
It is indeed. Mash called it a couple of overs ago. Back into the attack is this man.
Shannon Gabriel. Shannon Gabriel.
He's in to bowl to Root, and he bowls on the line of leg stump. Root directs the ball up to mid-on, and there is no run. 2 or 3 rather wayward overs this morning. He just couldn't get his line at all. So hopefully they talked about that during the lunch break, and he'll be more focused perhaps this time round.
Yeah, 1 maiden, none for 7 in 3 overs, and Roach 1 maiden, none for 16 in 8 overs. Both wildly flattered, I think, by both those figures.
Well, absolutely right. It was only because England had that difficult hour before lunch that perhaps they didn't take more toll of some of that.
The ball was too wide to hit.
Well, some of it they just couldn't reach. You're absolutely right. Gabriel in again, bustling up to the crease. 3 slips in the gully, waiting wide of the off stump. 2 wide again. Root leaves it alone and goes through the keeper.
been a bit of a pattern with Gabriel in this series where his first spell with each of the new balls has been poor. But then he's been right on it, bang on the money, getting it more in line, getting more spite out of the pitch. I wonder, I don't know, maybe it's just a fitness thing. He's coming back after 6 months, 8 months off with ankle surgery. Obviously recovered the ball absolutely beautifully. I do wonder if they keep this 4-man attack, if Joseph might get the new ball in the third test, or even in the second innings of this, and then let Gabriel come in when the lacquer is off the ball and it's not swinging so much.
Yeah, he's not a massive swinger of the ball. He's more of a seamer, I would say, and obviously hits the deck hard, doesn't he? Here he comes again, swooping past the umpire. Bowls a really full delivery, and Root is rather lucky because he aimed a drive at that without really moving his feet, dragged it off an inside edge down to long leg, hurries through for a fortunate single, and England move to 56 for 2.
I mean, that's exactly it. Gabriel doesn't move the ball that much. Of all the seamers who take a lot of wickets, he moves the ball less than any other. He relies on accuracy and pace and bounce, and I just don't, he's not used to controlling the swinging ball.
Yeah, and I think there's another interesting thing there about that extra bit of pace. Is that's what makes it more difficult for a batsman to get his foot to the ball, that extra bit of pace, and sometimes finds that if it is thrown out there wide, Mitchell Johnson would get wickets like this, and Mitchell Stark to an extent, throwing one full and wide that a batsman chases and either drags on and gets an edge to. Gabriel in, bowling to Sibley now, and Sibley right up on his toes, does really well to get back down on that. That was a really probing, rather demanding Yorker that demanded to be dealt with, and was dealt with very well by the Warwickshire batsman. Tony.
Yes, Paul Harrow, our own Grubby Howarth, says Mash, you bowled Holder a bouncer and he ducked under it, bowl him another. Leah says innocuous spinners, Jadeja, Rangana, Kumble, if he counts as a spinner, of course, which I'm not fully convinced. Well, he's a spinner with a 10-for in international cricket against Pakistan.
Wickets. That's a lot of innocuous wickets.
A 10-for is a very innocuous spell, isn't it? He should have taken all 20. Gabriel in again, bowling to Sibley, and Sibley leaves a ball which Dowrich then fails to take, and they're going to come through for a bye, maybe 2 in fact. Yes, that was poor wicket keeping, and it sprang away down to fine leg, and England pick up 2 more extras. 58 for 2.
I'm not going to play the never-ending bye jingle. I was going to say that with Kumble, Herath and Jadeja, because that's what, 1,200 innocuous test wickets between the 3 of them.
We'd like to be as innocuous as that, wouldn't we? We'd all like to be as innocuous.
I do think
we'd like to be inoculated.
But I think there's an interesting comparison with those 3 and Chase that I'd like to probably make after this ball in terms of tactics for playing them.
Well, I mean, I heard Leah saying Jadeja, but I mean he's right up there, isn't he? He's the 3rd highest rated all-rounder, isn't he, at the moment in the world? This is way wide of the off-stump, and Dowrich is having problems. I think the ball's just dipping on him a little bit as he goes to take it. He drops that one, but he gets away with it, and at the end of the over, England 58 for 2.
Yeah, I mean, there's a point to be made about all 3 of those bowlers, but we probably, I'm aware, you probably get through from social media? Social media.
Yes, indeed. Jonah says Archer should join the government. And I think he says that with no small amount of irony. That's the way not to get punished for breaking COVID rules. Indeed it is. Neymar Butlin says, let's hope the cold wet weather of Manchester will make this entire West Indian team seize up like an inebriated gorilla on a dirty test match sofa. Well, that's a pretty good analogy. I think we know where you're coming from. Brian Barish says, what's this? My 3 favourite gorillas having a spell together. Colour me giddy.
Oh my word. Roach starts a new over. It's a full delivery outside the off-stump. Root just leans forward, leans on the ball and defends it sweetly into the covers, and there is no run.
So England have had, I'd say this pretty much every time anyone plays Sri Lanka and Varangana Herath. Obviously he's retired now, a great spinner, but he didn't turn every ball. Kumble didn't turn every ball, Jadeja didn't turn every ball. In a sense, you almost need to play for the one that doesn't turn, and then if it turns, fine, and it'll miss your edge or it'll hit your pad and be going down leg.
Roach in again, wide on the crease, right up there this time, dug out by Roots to mid-on, no run.
And I think that may be a way for England to play Roston Chase, is to play for the straight ball, and then if it turns, either if you're a left-hander, it's beating your outside edge, or really, it's probably bouncing and turning too much to hit the stumps, certainly on this pitch, if you're a right-hander.
Well, I think the non-turning spinner is a really good weapon in today's cricket, to be honest.
Yeah, in all cricket, Derek Underwood.
Well, yeah, but also, as he's in again onto the back foot this time, Root looking for a single. Sibley comes a few yards, but then they decide against it. I mean, looking back at that dismissal of Burns, it straightened ever so a little amount, but actually he was playing for a lot more spin than was there. And that's really why he's missed it. He's actually played for the amount of spin he thinks there's going to be. So if you can actually make a batsman think that you're going to turn the ball and you don't turn the ball, then that's as good a weapon as any.
Yeah, any spinner will tell you the illusion of turn. I'm sure an India has thoughts on this.
Roach again into Root, foolish ball again, propping forward, guiding it to backward point. Again, no run.
Yeah, it was a fascinating chat with an India Dutta at lunch, and an India having studied spin bowling will tell you that any good spinner, the illusion of turn is almost as important as actual turn. And a lot of spinners will try and rip their first ball a long way to put it into the batsman's head that it's turning, and then the one that doesn't turn becomes a massive weapon.
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, and in fact, the more turn there is, in a way, if you don't turn it, then the more difficult it is for the batsman. In he comes again, clipped off his legs beautifully by Root. That's, I think, got enough legs even on this rather long outfield. Or is it just slowing up? I think it's going to make it's just about going to dribble into the cow corner. Sponge for one of these.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Root's
and I've got a feeling that's the first 4 I've commentated today.
Yeah, it might be. As you say, the outfield is a little bit slow. I'm sure it'll quicken up. We don't expect much more rain for the rest of the test. Maybe a little bit, I think, on Saturday morning, but not too much. Root's weight transfer looks really good today.
Well, he's had a long time to practice it. He's been underneath all the accoutrements of fatherhood recently. As he goes onto the back foot to play Roach, it actually springs off his thigh pad, beats him really.
Well, I think that might have I think that might have hit him in the accoutrements of fatherhood.
Very good point. Yes. 62 for 2 is the score at the end of the 25th over. Root has 18, almost caught up with Sibley's on 21. Roach still looking for his first wicket in the series. None for 20 from 9. Tony, more social media?
Very much so. Jay Grover says, Tony, don't know if you saw my previous tweet, but excellent interview. You've sold a few books there. Jay, I did, and thank you very much indeed for that. Messi Jazz is saying, so the current lineup appears to be Hendo as James T. Kirk, Bish as Jean-Luc Picard, and Knuckle as Mr. Spock. Does he even have a first name? The Bear, as ever, is doing his Scotty thing in the engine room.
Live long and prosper, my friends.
Right, yes. That's made me laugh. There you go. You're entertaining me rather than the other way round. In comes Gabriel to bowl to Sibley. It's a testing ball that I think straightens a little bit as it's angled in, and Sibley is a little uncomfortable in getting in behind that one.
Kept a little bit low.
He does actually survive it. We're seeing Jason Holder warming up. He's thinking about another spell.
A little bit of uneven bounce. That kept a little. I don't know if Sibley was caught on the crease. It was hard to tell, but that kept a little bit low.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's possibly why it looked so ungainly in the end, the way that he played it. Anyway, it looks like we're going to have Jason Holder perhaps to replace Kemar Roach fairly shortly. But Gabriel has just started his 5th over, and he's coming in again to bowl to the right-handed Sibley. He's in way outside the off stump and left alone with no problem at all. And there is no run. I wish I'd had Tony to interview me when I had my books out. Unfortunately, they're now all remaindered, so you have to go looking in places like Amazon's extra sellers, and even then I don't get any of the money from them. So
if I were at home, you would see I sit in front of the non-fiction section of my sort of library, the bookshelves, and your book is on it.
Oh my word! Are you one of those really sort of OCS?
OCD.
It looks like a big stand at the Oval.
Are you one of the OCD librarians, as it were, with your books at home, where it's all divided by alphabetical order, or as Sibley strokes this one into the covers, fielded by, I think it was
Chase, I think.
Brathwaite. Yeah.
Well, I'm not OCD. I mean, that's a pretty serious condition. But no, I do organise my books and my partner's books. You know, there is we do have quite a lot of books between us, so it does take a little bit of organising. Yeah. So we've got a double bookshelf. One side is fiction, one side is non-fiction, and then it's alphabetical by author. And unless it's a series, in which case we go sort of chronologically through the series.
Also, OCD's in completely the wrong order as well, because O becomes a long time after C and D.
Oh, well spotted, well spotted. Nothing gets past you. I have absolutely no order. There is complete chaos to my to my bookshelf, as you might imagine would be the case. Funnily enough, Gabriel in again, bowls and played off his hip this time by Sibley. They'll get an easy run as Dowrich comes from behind the stumps to a position somewhere behind square leg to do the fielding. England move on to 63 for 2, and it looks like there's some England players going for a net with a pink ball. I tell you, is that Jack Leach
and Mark Wood?
Jack Leach without his glasses on. Mark Wood looks like he's going to have a bat. And who's that with him? That's one of the backroom staff that I can't identify. Anyway, 63 for 2. Root 18, Sibley 22. Gabriel none for 9, although he has been a little bit inaccurate today. He hasn't gone for lots of runs, and he does sometimes leak runs when his rhythm is not actually spot on. 3 slips in the gully go down. Root awaits. In comes Gabriel. Bowl short down the leg side again, well off the radar, and Dowrich has to skip across to his left to do the wicket keeping.
Wonder how well Gabriel's pulled up after his heroics in the first test.
Well, it's very difficult, isn't it, for a guy who hasn't played for a few months, and then I guess being on a high from what happened at the Ageas Bowl, and also being a little bit stiff. He may be just trying a little bit too hard at the moment. He needs to relax a little bit and let it come more naturally.
He did seem to be straining a little bit in his action at the crease, certainly in the first session. It's interesting to watch him at the crease if he's just sort of pushing it down leg a little bit.
Well, that would kind of suggest that he is trying too hard. He's in again, bowl short, pulled at by Root, and Gabriel is hoping that he got a little feather through to the keeper. The question has been asked, but Root is still grinning, so I'm guessing that he didn't get anything on it. It's the end of the over. England 63 for 2. Tony?
Yeah, we've had some nice messages on Craig Chaka. Welcome indeed to Maduka Bhatt, who rates Shane Warne very highly. Deceptive and capable of destructive test spells. Maduka Bhatt also said, I love your commentary, which is extremely kind. So thoroughly enjoying us. Hello to MD Jafagul Hussain, Raj Achara, Erasan Sasyataka, and a whole host of others who are piling in on Cricket Tracker. So we are absolutely delighted to have you with us.
Change of bowling, and it's the West Indies captain coming back.
He's Jason Holder, ready or not. He's gonna take a wicket if you like it or not, and then make runs because he's the top all-rounder.
Here he comes into Sibley. Oh, there's already a little bit of gentle away movement. Didn't tempt Sibley, left it alone this time.
Yeah, as the stats have been showing since the start of 2018 and Holder's incredible run, nobody swings or seams the ball more than Jason Holder in world cricket.
Well, there you go. There's a fact that we would never have known 20 years ago, it has to be said, with all this data and statisticians these days.
Or we'd have made it up and no one would have been able to dispute it.
That's what I think was so easy for someone like John Arlott. He didn't have someone saying, "Oh, you're talking rubbish," because we can see what's happening ourselves. That bounces on the way through to Dowrich, who's having a little bit of a torrid time at the moment. It bounces away from him, and they think about a single for a moment, running through to the 5. But the man at first slip was smartly onto it.
We didn't see it too much. We didn't see it too much at Southampton, but England is a notoriously difficult place for opposition keepers because the ball wobbles after it comes through to the stumps. I was listening to watching a masterclass with Ian Heavey that they did last year, and he was talking about how he had to change his technique because you can't necessarily trust the line of the ball.
Oh, he's found the edge this time, and he's going to get runs. Sibley, it's run away to backward point, and they've come through for one. It was half stopped by the man at third slip. So encouragement for Holder. He's got such a lovely seam position, hasn't he?
He does.
Absolutely perfect. It should have been stopped, really, to be honest. I think that was that's Shea Hope, is it not? Anyway, 64 for 2. Sibley takes another single. He's gone to 23. Holder bowled 3 overs for 10 in his first spell.
Barely seen an authentic catch to slip and gully throughout this series yet.
Yeah, it's true. Now that is Root facing up, and he leaves a slightly quicker one just outside off stump. 78 miles an hour.
We saw Shea Hope took a really good catch at Gully, and then we had one that flashed past Rory Burns when he was standing very close and didn't get anything on it, which he should have caught.
Burns cut to slip. A conventional slip cap. I can't remember who took it.
Burns?
Or was that simply not in this game, in the last game?
Well, it was the catch you're talking about was the one that Mark Wood played at, I believe. Hold it in again, starts that straighter, a little bit back of a length. In behind it goes Root, defends into the covers. There's no run.
There was one that Burns took at Stokes took it slip off Bess, which Craig Brathwaite cut straight to slip. But we've seen so many just die way short of the slips.
Yeah, it has affected the placements. I mean, on that final day at the Ageas Bowl, we were seeing maybe rarely more than one, sometimes two slips if you were lucky. Here is Holder to complete the over, bowls to Root, lovely ball, probing around the line of off stump, which he defends up to mid-off. And that is the end of the over, 60.
Oh, hello, you're frozen. So I'll just jump in.
64 for 2 after 26 overs.
Durban Oak says, Gorilla, so what's going to be a good score here? 350? That's not a bad shout, actually. 60 odd for 2 wickets, immediately either side of lunch. Makes life very interesting, you're right, and obviously put Chase on a hat-trick. So probably that's in about the right ballpark for me, Durban Oak. Neymar Butlin says, I'm sitting in shit traffic jam. Thanks for the great commentary. You are most kind and delighted to be here. Brian Barish is just making sure he tagged those of us who are here to let us know he's appreciating us, which we appreciate in return. Knuckle coining a new delightful in English phrase, that's the dog's accoutrements of fatherhood. said Brian Barish, by the way.
Okay, 3 slips in the gully for Gabriel as he runs into bowl to Sibley. It's a full ball, he digs it out into the ground and then back into the hands of the bowler. One thing I was interested to find out really when I was doing a bit of research for this series was just how much cricket Jason Holder played last year. I think it was 62 matches across all formats, and that included playing for Northants in the early county championship matches and One Day Cup. Then he had a World Cup. The only cricket that he played in 2020 before this was a couple of ODIs in Sri Lanka. So he was obviously in need of a rest, and it seems to have done him the world of good.
There's a CPL in there too.
Yeah, well, there you go. Gabriel in, bowls, driven. And that's a good shot from Sibley, but there's a big gap on the offside, and to be fair, that's not actually been placed very well. He's got a man at square cover, a man at a wideish mid-off. There's that big gap extra, and he's drilled it straight to the man at square cover. That really was 4 for the taking. 64 for 2. Sibley remains on 23 from 88 balls.
I wonder if
it'll take him a long time to get to 50 if he's going to miss out on those ones.
He does make it harder for himself than he needs to, but the fact that his placement isn't always good, particularly off the spinners, the stats are quite alarming on how many dot balls he plays off spinners, because he struggles to score in the offside early in his innings, which I know, Tony, you were talking about. I wonder if the fact that his game is set up so leg-sided means the back face is a little bit closed.
Well, I think it's difficult to get your foot into the right position from there. Let's have a look where he goes initially. He just comes across with his back foot. That one's back of a length in any case, so he leaves it alone. He comes back and across a little bit. So he's trying to stop himself from making the forward movement too early. A lot of batsmen have done that against pace. Alex Stewart was one of those. Just sometimes gives you a little bit more time, and it prevents you planting your foot and then not being able to move it if the ball moves.
Yeah, you can get into a situation. Ricky Ponting sometimes had this early in his innings where his front foot would go forward and across, and it worked really well for him when he was in, but he was an LBW candidate early in his innings because your head can fall out of line of off and kind of fall over yourself. But it's just, I'd like to watch Sibley's sort of grip and the face of the bat rather than his feet, which looked perfectly fine at the moment of delivery.
Well, the face is turned upwards really when he gets into the side-on position, which he takes up by moving that back foot across, which is strange. It's left alone. It's the end of the over. No, it isn't. Still a couple of balls to go. 64 for 2. Route 18, Sibley 23. More on the Twitter sphere, Tony?
Most definitely. Jonah says, can Root make 100 today? Does he look confident? He got away with a rather fortunate inside edge he didn't know much about, but other than that, I think he's looked reasonably solid. Suitably cautious, 18 off 40 stands at the moment.
Yeah, you say that about the inside edge, but there was also the LBW appeal, wasn't there? and
I don't think I was around to see that.
It went to review as Gabriel comes in again. I'll come back to that point. After this ball slips in the gully, go down alongside the wicket keeper. He's in, bowls it short and wide, and he lifts that up and over the slips. That is a good shot from Sibley. He played that one with freedom. It was a terrible ball, and he picks up 4 runs.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Gabriel's all over the place today.
Yeah, that reminded me of a ball that he bowled to Joss Butler in the first innings at the Ageas Bowl when he was on his second spell, and he got it really horribly wrong. That was just a free shot for Sibley, really.
Especially
we're going back to
Sorry, go on, Hendo.
Yeah, going back to the LBW appeal against Root. I thought there was a case for saying, and I don't know if the commentator said it at the time, that he hadn't actually played a shot at that. He kind of hid his bat a little bit behind his pad. So I think if you were being cruel as an umpire, you might have said, "I'm not sure you played a shot there. You should be on your way." But it was allowed. Anyway, here's Gabriel once more in full again, dugout. Literally the ball running, almost being stunned by Sibley's bat there, and running only a foot or so away from him. That is the end of the over. More tweets.
Yes, indeed. Leah says, I sort my books autobiographically, you noobs. Noobs being a word I'm not
autobiographically.
Autobiographically.
That's what it says. Jeff Perkins says, Hendo obviously isn't an OCD librarian. Your books are in the non-fiction section. Pirate Badshah says, much like Hendo, my shelves are chaotic. The only order is in the Marxism section where my shelves, I believe he means, not my selves, which would be sort of a degree of sort of schizophrenia. But my shelves, he means, are chaotic. The only order is in the Marxism section where Marx is in chronological order. There you are.
Groucho Marx as well?
Not Groucho in this case. I suspect it's Carl rather than Vic.
Right, we'll have one more over and then we will have a change. Dave B will be coming into the ball by ball chair. He'll be joined by Annie and Mash. And we shall all go and just have a little rest. And just gather our thoughts and maybe put our bookshelves in order. Holder in, bowls to Root, 2 wide of the off stump. Hint of movement away, but left alone. Root has 18, Sibley has 27. England are 68 for 2. They were put into bat this morning. They started late at 12:30. They played an hour until lunch, and they did okay, England, until the very last ball, or what turned out to be the very last ball before lunch, when Burns played for spin against Roston Chase. There was no spin, and he was LBW. Absolutely nailed on. First ball after lunch. A little catch for leg slip, and Crawley was gone first ball. Here's Holder in again, bowls to Root. Better ball, probing nearer to the off stump, bringing him forward, defending into the offside. No run, up to 80 miles an hour on that occasion.
A little bit of wobble. To be honest, though, apart from those 3 overs from Chase, which seem to belong to a completely different match, it's been quite comfortable for England. Holder and Joseph have bowled tidily, and Holder's getting a little bit of movement, but Roach hasn't been threatening particularly, which is unusual for Kemar Roach, and Gabriel's been all over the place.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Not that England have raced away with it at all. They're only going at 2.4 and over. Another fuller swinging delivery from Holder, which Root once more. Let's go.
This is very... Sorry, Endo, go ahead.
Go ahead.
This is very much the Silverwood game plan, though, at the start of the innings with the top 3. They look very heavily at the number of balls faced, and the idea is, you soak up the pressure and put it back on tired bowlers later. I do wonder, though, if you're England, I think, do struggle with that middle ground, and if you're not working singles around, then actually how much pressure are you putting on the bowlers?
Yeah, it's a fair point. In he comes again, a little bit wider on the crease, driven this time by Root, but it's a nice shot, but it's straight to mid-off, and there's no run. Root remains on 18 from 44. Sibley has 27 from 92. So he's going at something like 30 runs per 100 balls. I think that's his strike rate at the moment.
Just under.
Doesn't really. It's not really great to be called a strike rate when it's only 30. He's not really striking a great deal. Holder in again, bowls to Root, better ball, but he's going to get a single as he. This takes the inside half of the bat, runs away behind square leg, and in fact, not just a single, but a second as he hurries back. England move to 70 for 2.
I mean, that's the difference between Joe Root and Dom Sibley, is that Root is always alert for those singles, and his hands are that little bit softer maybe in his placements, that little bit better, so he can offer perfectly adequate defensive shot off a very decent delivery, get runs.
Yeah, Sibley, I know he's lost 2 stone, but he still there's something about the way he moves that doesn't suggest great dynamism. Outside the off stump, left alone, people will say, how could you say that, Hendo? And I will admit to it, I'm not the most dynamic man myself, but as an opening batsman in Test cricket, you probably need to show a little bit more, I don't know, oomph.
Race, is that a word you're looking for?
I mean, just a little bit
liveness,
more, sort of fleetness of foot, I guess.
Oh, in any case, that's the end of my spell. Dave B has moved into position. He'll be joined by Annie and Mash very, very soon. I'll be back later. I'll leave you with a score: England 70-2.
Yeah, and I'll take myself.
Thank you very much, Hendo. Thank you to Tony and Knuckle, and Mash and Annie have joined me. I'm honoured.
It's the West Indian fan contingency.
Yes, indeed. We're outnumbering. Here's Sibley, a man that many people would pay not to watch, taking strike now to Gabriel, and that wraps him on the pad, but it's missing leg stump. Yeah, there's something about Sibley. Have you seen a less attractive opening batsman, Mash?
I've seen a couple of West Indians who can't get past the score of 10, but Sibley is like watching paint dry.
Gabriel slanted that one in.
I think that's a little harsh.
Yeah, it's harsh on Dulux, that's for sure, because there's lots of different colours and varieties there. Sibley has looked round the field, but Joe Root's played very well. I mean, they've both played well, actually. This has been a good, pretty good partnership. Joe Root's looked very good since he came in. I was worried that he would be too busy changing nappies recently to have done a lot of nets, but seems to be okay. No, got Barry Wilkinson on the. Barry Wilkinson from Barbados is calling on the line. That's just tucked away by Root. That's favourite shot down past third man, and they're going to take a single there. No, he's coming back for second. I beg your pardon.
I think Sibley's been doing what he should be doing, which is staying there and being solid. To be fair to Sibley.
Barry Wilkinson from Barbados is on the line. I'm sure he's got some pressing news.
Well, let's hope it's interesting.
Barry's going to have to communicate it via another medium at the moment. Until the end of the over. No, at the end of the over, Barry. Just stay on the line until the end of the over. It's only Shannon Gabriel. Take a little while. He's going to bowl now to Dominic Sibley, who takes strike as Gabriel comes charging in. Bowls that's a short one down the leg side. Dowich misses it again and gets a glove on it. Dowich hasn't been at his tidiest today. Think about a second, but Joe Roots had to turn back quite quickly there, and the signal is no shot. Signal no shot. So the batsmen are having to change over. Annie.
Well, there's been an awful lot of wide balls, so you say that he hasn't been keeping very well. I think that's quite tricky. He's seems like everything seems to be going past his hands quite wide.
Harry, we're hoping that you come in on the live link and join us for a little bit. So come in on the Zoom link, Barry, and we look forward to welcoming you on the commentary. That's got rid of him. Here's Gabriel, he bowls, and that's Sibley covers up, just plays that one down onto the leg side. A study in concentration and ungainliness.
Is Barry actually in Barbados, or is he over here?
No, he's in Barbados.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
okay.
There's no there's no press corps at all over with the West Indies team, because of the quarantine. Ian Bishop's just arrived in time for this the end of that last Test match, didn't he? Yeah.
Is he staying with Michael Holding, I think, isn't he?
They were. Whether they must be inside the bubble now.
He's isolated long enough.
Yeah. As long as he's not staying in Hove.
With Jofra Archer.
Here's Shannon Gabriel now, he bowls, and Sibley plays that one down, and there's no run. 72 for 2 England. I'm going to get Mash and his take on game so far at the end of this, after this ball.
What I don't know, Mash, is if you're doing social media or I am. I'm happy to do social media. I am, apparently. Thank you.
There you go. You've answered your own question, Annie. Here's the last ball of the over from Gabriel. He hasn't been his most penetrating today. His radar's just been a little bit off. Maybe, as the guys were saying earlier, there's a little bit of stiffness there after his efforts in the first test. He may warm up to his work as we go going through the match. He bowls now wide of the crease, and that's a pleasant shot from Sibley. He's gone down to towards log off. There's a big chase here. Alzari Joseph, I think it is, who goes to do the fielding, and they take 2. So at the end of that over, Sibley's on 29, Root is on 20, England 72 for 2.
Messi just says, I'm so glad that I have Guerrilla Cricket to listen to, as watching Sibley bat without them would drive me insane. So I think he's with us on that, or with you two definitely anyway. Messi just says, home umpires during the COVID period, with each side being able to take an extra review to compensate. I think that's a reply to Guerrilla Cricket. Mash, you thought Lara scoring 150 was a boring day at the cricket, says Jay Grover. And Anna Forsyth says, morning all, mad news about Archer. At least our tail is almost non-existent now.
We got some latest news on Jofra, actually, as Nkrumah Bonner comes on to do some 12th man duties. Oh, Gable's gone off, so he's obviously needs a bit of treatment or a bit of a sorting. Something's wrong there, Mash. What do you think's wrong with Mr. Gable? Oh, Jason Holder bowls, and Root tucks that one away on the leg side nicely, sweetly timed. Bonner's going to be straight into the action here. They've gone for 1, coming back for 2. They're going to think about a third on the throw. They're going to take a third, and that's comfortably. So nice timing there from Root, who goes on to 23. Is on 31.
Yes, I think Gabriel's very much a rhythm bowler, isn't he? And he hasn't looked in any kind of rhythm today. Doesn't necessarily mean he's injured, but it could well be a fitness issue. Remember, he's having to do 2 back-to-back tests, having been out for 7 months, which is why some people would have said, why did West Indies choose to bowl first? If you weren't going to rest one of the bowlers, i.e. Shannon Gabriel, but. You know, it is what it is. England won't get a better chance than to make over 350 than on this deck right now in the positioning.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, the decision not to pick Cornwall with the spin, taking spin already. Holder bowls, so that's a good bounce outside the off stump, taken by Dowrich. You like to have seen Cornwall in, Mash?
I would have got him in. I would have. Well, now we've seen what's wrong with that. Something's up with Shannon. I personally would have dropped Alzari and picked Rakeem instead, or the other controversial option would have been to drop Shai Holt finally and the up one, but they're going to give up the whole series, aren't they?
Do you think Cornwall will play at all?
Sibley on strike now to Holder. He plays away bat away from his body, and that's gone down to third man for one of these. Intended it to go down to third man. It was played, well, maybe it was a bit of an angle bat there. You were saying, Annie, about Cornwall. He played. Well,
yeah. Do you think he will?
I suppose it depends on the outcome of this
result,
one. Yeah. I mean, in a way, it's just as well he didn't play instead of Alzari Joseph, because if Shannon Gabriel had pulled up, that would have left them with only the 2 pacers. Yeah. Here's Holder, he bowls, and that's on the spot again. Nice bit of bounce, a little bit of away drift as Sibley shoulders arms. Gabriel is holding his right groin and side, so that's not good news. Maybe a bit of treatment on the Masu's table.
Yeah, sounds like it. No, there's definitely a rather good partnership building up here. She says in an attempt to
the Kurds. Yeah, the commentator's Kurds. These 2 are batting beautifully. I think they're set for the whole afternoon. And Holder bowls outside the off stump, and it's Sibley who leaves that one. Both got the sleeveless sweater on. Sorry, Mash.
I will be a bit critical here because, to be honest, I said it when I was last on, the bowling's not been up to anything. So to only be 80 runs after 30 overs, this is very slow going. I understand what they're trying to do, but play what you're facing. You're not facing anything dangerous.
Well, yeah, Sibley's been the slowest, hasn't he? 35 off 102 balls. That's his role.
I do think someone has to have that role.
Holder and studious defence there from Sibley. It looked a bit like Joe Root when he played that shot, actually. It's not, which I hope I'm not doing Joe Root a disservice. That's the end of the over. Sibley on 35, Root 23, England 81 for 2.
Yeah, we are only on day one, guys, and we didn't really have much of day one last time, did we? So, anyway, Guerrilla Cricket and tweets. We've got the magic of bootlegging. Fair play to Sibley. He's seen Gabriel off. Evil Scooter says, "Ooh, that didn't look great when Gabriel walked off there." And Brian001 says, "Okay, surely there must have been a holidaying Kiwi Sapper Aussie stuck here in the UK, or the TV umpire could be remote." So I think that's in response to something from Guerrilla Cricket. KM says the decisions were very much in favour of England though in the last match. Even Holder had to call them out. This may be one of the reasons for it. Yeah, a bit of umpiring issues here, obviously. I will be in the sea and the communists. Guerrilla Cricket, I need cheering up. Love life crisis. Who can give me something to smile about? Anyone give them something to smile about?
What, love life crisis?
Yeah.
Get another one.
Another love life.
Or crisis. whichever one.
And Crick Tracker, I've got Santosh Shinge, hi, MD Abdullah Anzar Bai, Madkota Bat, kind of you sirs, and Harish Parashar says, "Hello sir, I think England again lose this match."
Excellent.
Okay, nice to have you all following us on Crick Tracker. I can't seem to get YouTube up for some reason. I don't know if there's a problem, but I'll try again in a minute. Durban Oak says, "Why don't they use Cornwall as 12th man?"
Very good slip fielder. He's got great hands.
Yeah.
And Guerrilla Cricket say, "You mock, but he's a superb slip fielder."
Oh yes, he is. He's an exceptional slip fielder, but I don't think
he are those hands.
He doesn't need to be riding the boundary though.
81 for 2. So decent partnership this between Sibley and Root. They're settling in. Have they booked themselves in for the session? That's the question.
For those who watch Dom Sibley or know more about him county-wise, does he bat this slow all the time? Or is this just his test approach? Because Joe Root's proving that this isn't you don't have to be going at 35 runs after 100 balls.
Yeah, but if one of them is, then the other one doesn't have to, surely.
But at what point, once you're in, are you in?
You stay in and you do an anchor roll, don't you?
Yeah, I think if you're waiting, Mash, for him to go through the gears, as it were, I think you've got a long way. I think this is the way, Sibley bat.
I think he does bat like this much of the time in county.
Yeah, I haven't seen enough of him. I can never stay the course of an innings.
David, I'm shocked.
He is playing well.
I'm not being critical though. I'm just saying.
No, neither am I. No, it's ugly runs, tough runs. Change of bowling, Knackle.
Alzari Joseph. Alzari Joseph. Alzari.
It is Alzari Joseph who floats that one up, first one, and Root drives it pleasantly but straight back the point, and there's no run. So West Indies looking to Alzari Joseph for something a bit special now, because Gabriel's been injured. He's off the field. So Joseph, who had that great spell in the second innings during that victory, first test, he needs to reproduce something like that for his captain here, who stands at second slip as Joseph comes into ball wide of the crease. He's got him! Jason Holder has taken the catch. I was just saying the captain was at second slip, and he's pouched that. It was a flashy drive from Joe Root, and he went for his shots. It was well pitched up, a little bit of swing, and Jason Holder, well, he's a tall man, and he took that by his shoulder. Joe Root is out. Did mess about, and he was caught out. In the words of Sherbert, Alzat, you're out. Annie, Mash.
Well, that was nice of you, David, because I think that was a very rash shot. I'm sure Joe Root's eyes lit up, but did he really need to play that shot?
No, I think definite. The answer to that is a definite no affirmative. The negative. It was up there, and he played the previous ball quite nicely along the ground, and then there's a little bit of swing in that one, but
I was going to say, he is moving it around a bit, isn't he? Maybe it just caught him out a little bit.
So maybe that whole period of nappy changing, out of the cricket arena has, taken the captain away from that sort of very, very, tight focus that you need. There's no margin for error, is there, in Test cricket? You make one mistake, you're back in the hut, and that's what's happened, to Joe Root, who's come back into the team, and big wicket that Mash. So how do you view the situation now? Oh, we've got another. We've got new batsman.
I got up in Stokes, and he called me a if I'd only seen that Ben Stokes was so mean, and he called me up, said he'd punch my, said I made him. The arm looked up and said, "You angry redhead, you'll get fined again."
Joseph bowls to Stokes. He's off the mark straight away. He's timed that beautifully off his legs, and the big chase for the 12th man Bonnet, and they've taken 2. So Stokes not wasting any time at all. He's obviously been hearing the chipping that we've been giving Dom Sibley, and he's wasted no time at all getting off the mark there. Let's have another look at that 2 balls from Joseph. He bowled wide of the crease, the second one, to Root, who drove with his bat away from the body, and it was a sharp chance to Jason Holder, but he wasn't in control of that shot.
Yeah, I think you're right, Nash.
There was a hint of late swing, but actually to give again,
and that's left alone by Stokes.
To give Holder his credit, I mean, prior to Root getting out, I was complaining that England weren't going at any kind of click. But this is where England's approach then falls down.
Yeah.
The West Indies have bowled, well, not disciplined, but they've kept it tight. England haven't got away. So all of a sudden, because England haven't gone at any pace, it's now 81 for 3, or 82 for 3, needlessly so.
I do see what you mean. I still think it's good to have an anchor roll, but like you say, I mean, if it doesn't work in this context, does it?
Here's Joseph bowls. That's outside the off stump, and Stokes leave that. Just going to give a big shout out to Amelia, who's listening to this, my darling wife. I didn't think she was tuned in, but she's making sure that she does know that she's tuned in, and she's a very keen supporter of England, and will be looking to oppose my 4-1 bet on West Indies that I had at the start of the game. I don't mind telling you that. Guys, after I collected my winnings in the last game, 6-1.
Did you win a lot?
6-1 West Indies. Oh, Stokes plays that one away on the leg side. I was recommending getting on at 6-1 actually, and that's 2 to Stokes, and there Stokes goes on to 4. So that is the end of that over from Alzari Joseph. It's a successful one. He's made the breakthrough. 85 for 3 England.
I will be in the sea and the communists say I think Sibley batting is the living embodiment of the Friends theme tune or my mate's old Ford Fiesta, always stuck in second gear. Attritional, total anchor, England need that. Okay. Leah says Joe didn't even make a half rootery. Drop him already. Yeah, we're calling out for that, aren't we? And just having a look on Crick Tracker. Yankee 7000 there, and Alan Thomas says root. I think.
Jason Holder with a new over, and Sibley plays the first ball to mid wicket, and there's no run. Annie, you in mid stride there with the Quick Tracker?
No, there wasn't.
Greetings to everyone on Quick Tracker who's listening to us in India, and if you can just keep it quiet in the green room. I know there's a bit of a party going on, virtual party going on in the green room, and here comes Holder again to Sibley, who has obviously not been listening to us at all, because he's not going to be shaken away from his role of sheet anchor. Emphasis on the word sheet.
Allow me to be bullish once more and say that I wouldn't take any of these England batsmen, not even Joe Root. I'm throwing him on the scrap heap as well now. He can't even make our side.
So not Stokes nor Root.
Right, I feel now that I need to revert to a different role as a Holder plays, and that I need to, and Sibley plays that one down into this backward at point. I think, Mash, you're driving me into a situation where I need to be even more objective than usual now, and I'm not going to mention any affiliations. Mash, you're having a fantastic series, if I may say so, with not just with Gorilla, but with the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, which is gone gangbusters. You must be delighted with that, Mash.
I can't really explain it to you, to be honest. It's come out of nowhere. So yeah, I can't give you any kind of
Holder bowls, and that's left alone by Sibley. Outside, no run.
Yeah, I really can't explain it to you, Dave. We'll have to do like a lunchtime talk one day about it.
Could it be lockdown?
Yeah, well, that's probably what's happened. People have looked for something new, and we've given people something new to look at. Everyone loves West Indies at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're being very modest there. It's really entertaining.
It's nothing to do with you,
podcast. Here's Holder, and he bowls to Sibley. Lets that one go. Shoulders, arms, not having anything to do with that outside the off stump. No, it's a very entertaining podcast with yourself and Santoki and Nikul from Barbados. And I think, the Rum Shot Diaries, I recommend that. That's worth listening to at close of play every day. Have a look for the Rum Shot Diaries, Caribbean Cricket podcast. So I've got
Drink
the name
a lot of rum, Mash.
Here's Holder coming into bowl now to Sibley. Sibley lets that one go again. Holder needs to get his direction right here. It's not going to trouble Sibley. He leaves that one alone outside the off stump. He's on 35. Stokes is on 4. At the end of that over, 33 have gone. It's England 85 for 3.
Yes, rum is good, Annie.
I love rum. Yeah, no, I like it neat though. With ice.
What is your sort of recommended tipple for the over 18s?
Oh.
Well, I'm interested in yours, Annie, as well, but I was thinking of Mash in particular with his Rum Shot Diaries. I haven't seen County Cricket Matters with the rum motif yet.
No, I haven't done much rum. Yeah, what is it, Mash?
So the last, on day 5 when we did Rum Shot Diaries, obviously after the series win, I must have been so giddy from the win that by the time he shut this episode off, I was drunk. And that was courtesy of Ray and Nephew. So never again is my advice to other people.
And was that all rum?
No, I even watered it down, but...
Joseph, outside the off stump, Stokes lets that one go, no run.
Yeah, I watered it down, but I was swaying by the end, put it that way.
I'd like to have seen that. I've got some. Brian Kamanzi says he agrees with Mash 100%. This is the strategy that set up the Windies on day 4 in Test 1. England need to counter-attack with a higher run rate if they want to dictate the pace of this test. So you've got an agreement there, Mash.
Yeah, they're letting us stay in the game, Joseph.
Yeah,
here comes Joseph. He bowls. Stokes lets that one go outside the off stump, and there's no run. And so good start of a spell this from from is Alzari Joseph, who had that very, very good second innings in the first test. And of course, who can forget his performance in Antigua in the second test last year, where he played on, through the death of his mother, very sad news he had, and he kept going through that with some emotion, but he kept to his work, and everyone really respected him for that. He bowls now, that's a good one. Stokes covers up solidly. Ben Stokes, since that little sort of incident in Bristol, since he's come back, he's looked extremely solid, hasn't he? He's worked on his game, and he's got a very, very good defensive game now.
He's got an all-round game. He's a total all-rounder. He can defend well, and he can really, really blast out as well, can't he?
Total all-rounder, yeah. Here's Joseph coming into bowl to him now, and he plays that defensively, and there's no run. Did he touch that one? I'm not completely missed that. Yeah, the old pictures were a bit a bit of buffering going on here, a bit of buffering, because I have to tell you something that let you in on the secret, that we're actually not at the biosecure venue. We're all watching this off tube, as it were. We're just critiquing the coverage being provided by Sky Sports. We're just reviewing and critiquing it, and long may that continue. Thanks to Bear for sorting out all the technology here, which allows us to do this from home. Again, backward defensive by Stokes, very, very textbook that. Playing that down, he's on 4. Sibley 35. We're going to have a change in the commentary box. This time has just flown by this session, and I think we've got a change coming up soon. If Knackle can give me a clue as to when that's happening. Is it happening at the end of this over or the one after that?
At the end
of this over. And Mash, you're staying on. You're going to tweet, so do send Mash your tweets. Let him know what you think even tell him what you think of his podcast, if you like. Gorilla Bowls, and that's driven by Stokes straight to mid-off, and there is no run. That is the end of the over. So don't forget, at tea time, Gladstone Small will be joining us at tea time, and Vinod Mancham from Trinidad. So do join us at tea time. I'm going to pass over now after a word from Annie and Knackle will take over the ball by ball.
I've got Phil Jones says, I know he's not playing, but why is Jofra an bowling all-rounder, Cricinfo, when he has the lowest test batting average, 8.57, of any England player since his debut? Worse than Jimmy, Brody, Best, Leach, Wood and Overton, all bowlers. And looks like Knackles replied saying, those descriptions are often a bit off, but Archer has a first-class batting average of 26. He batted well in the second innings, his first good knock in international cricket.
Yeah, those things are often a little bit subjective. Jason Holder in to Dom Sibley. He's often caught down the leg side. That's a very good take from Shane Dowrich, having had a slightly wobbly day behind the stumps. But it doesn't appear to have hit anything possibly thigh pad. There is no run, but Joseph is getting, Dowrich is getting some congratulations for having taken that down the leg side. I'm joined by Mashals and Patrick Hewitt is staying on, and Tony Bishop is my summariser. I'm Knuckle Impande for Ball by Ball, and the first time in this test. This is the first period in the game so far where the seamers have actually bowled well. As Holder is in, very full delivery, a little bit of in-swing to Dom Sibley. 4 slips in place. This one blocked solidly by Sibley back to the bowler. 85 for 3. Holder and Joseph again exerting some control where Roach and Gabriel haven't been able to.
Which is rather good, and that's a point of a 4-man pace attack, that if any one or two falter, you can have the backup to come in.
Yeah, Roach hasn't been too bad, but he's not been at his menacing best. In comes Holder, third ball of his 7th over, the 35th of the innings. A very full delivery, a little bit of nibble again. Sibley blocked back to the bowler. There is no run on. 35 off 112. It's Don Sibley's mindset, Tony, is very much about soaking up pressure and scoring runs off tired bowlers later, but I do wonder he could help himself a little bit with some more singles.
No, you're absolutely right. But the West Indies have taken wickets at key times. Ball before lunch, ball after lunch, Root just as we were thinking maybe he was getting settled.
In comes Holder, a little bit of nibble, a little bit shorter of a length, and Sibley sort of fends it outside off stump. I think he wanted to leave it, but then wasn't quite sure. Blocks it into the pitch. There is no run.
It's also interesting. I remember Hendo was saying, we haven't really seen many conventional slip catches, and then how does the next wicket fall? It's the most conventional slip catch you'd ever see.
Yeah, indeed, off a very full delivery, almost a Yorker.
So that's been the big skill, I think, for the West Indies, or the big strength, is they found wickets when they've needed them.
Indeed, throughout the series, Holder very much wanted to make that happen, particularly in the first innings at Southampton. A little bit of swing again, Sibley defends from the crease to backward point. There is no run. 85 for 3, Stokes on 4 off 10, Sibley 35 off 114. Mash and I did a little podcast on Monday, sort of a review preview, which got overtaken by events, obviously, as these things always do. We were talking about Ben Stokes a little bit in his occasional side. He's got a little bit over anxious to dominate at times in the last year or so. Last ball of the over from Holder, and well played by Sibley. A little bit of swing, but he guides it well, but past gully and backward point. Has to race back to the third man boundary to try and reel it in, which he does. 2 runs off the over, both to Dom Sibley. England 87 for 3, Sibley 37, Stokes 4. He was walking down the pitch at Kemar Roach and slashing at balls outside off stump, and he's a better player than that.
Yeah, but again, I noticed in the last test England went on the defensive roundabout now, mid sort of 30 overs mark. 35 we're at the moment, whereas West Indies are relentlessly keeping those 3-4 slips and a gully in place and looking to tease that off stump. So they're feeling like a team that feels like they're on top. Mash, I think we need to let you pick up some messages.
Yes. Jay Grover says, Mash is now entirely for the fortunes of the West Indies cricket team. Embrace your sacrifice. Leah says, feels good to have been there from the start. Ooh.
Joseph continuing to Ben Stokes, who leaves this outside off stump. There is no run, a little bit of wobble. There's 2 slips on the gully, backward point, mid off, mid on, mid wicket. 2 slips on the gully, backward point, cover, mid off, mid on, mid wicket, and long leg. So quite a conventional field from Alzari Joseph to Ben Stokes, who somehow at a biosecure ground with no one in it has spotted something behind the bowler's arm. Not entirely sure how that's happened.
Litter or something floating about, and there's no one there really to stop it, is there?
No, indeed. Alzari Joseph has bowled very well since the start of that second innings at Southampton. 1 for 13 off 6.1 overs. I think he's been the pick of the seamers so far today. Back of a length, and Stokes blocks into the offside. A little bit of yes, no, not from the batters, but from cover, who ran in and then ran 3 steps back again for no reason whatsoever, and there is no run.
Joseph has got root, of course. 4 out of the last 5 innings that they've played against each other.
Yeah, worked him over in the West Indies, admittedly on much faster pitches. Root didn't have a particularly good tour. I think, Mash, you were doing the stats, or the Carib Cricket podcast was doing the stats on Root in the West Indies last year, and it wasn't too hot. As Joseph comes in, 3rd ball of the over. 2 leg sidey, and that's clipped nicely by Ben Stokes. It won't go for 4. Long leg Kumar Roach comes around to field in a jumper that looks at least a size too big, and they come through for 2.
So Leah says, feels good to have been there from the start with the Carib Cricket podcast. Look forward to Rumshot Diaries tonight. Yeah, that'll be happening tonight. Pirate Bradshaw says, anybody would be swaying after a few shots of Ray and Nephews. Marvellous stuff, but I rarely gets to drink anymore. I don't recommend too much Ray and Nephew for anybody.
Well, I thought on the first Rumshot Diaries you were pretty brave taking it neat as Joseph comes in for the 4th ball. A little bit of swing again back into the right-hander, and Stokes doesn't quite know where this has gone, but defends it from the crease, and it squirts off the inside part of the bat into the leg side. Dowrich fields that sort of leg gully, and they come through for 1. Stokes onto 6.
Yeah, I took it neat, Knuckle, because the West Indies had just won a test match away from home against someone good. I may never see this ever again. So I felt like I had to take the Ray and Nephew there and then.
Yeah, it's been 1988 was the last time West Indies won a series in England. Back in the tail end of, well, not quite the tail end of the glory days, but the latter period of West Indies dominating everyone. 3 slips in place for Alzari Joseph and a gully to Dom Sibley. Backward point, mid off, mid on, square leg and long leg as this is outside off stump, and Sibley defends from the crease into the offside. There is no run. Sibley remarks his guard. England 90 for 3. Alzari Joseph is bowling from the Brian Statham end, and Holder from the James Anderson end.
Good tweet here for you both to consider. I'll be in the scene comment says the same people saying England should go faster are the same people that were moaning about England going off like whippets and never reaching 300. This is not a particularly poor England batting performance, but a good West Indies bowling performance.
It's always the way. Everyone likes to have it both ways, don't they? Sibley walking across to off stump, trying to manufacture something into the leg side, but Joseph is very tight to off stump, and Sibley just blocks back to the bowler. There is no run. He's on 37, Stokes on 7. England, after 36 overs, 90 for 3. Yeah, a run rate of 2.5 is fine. It can put pressure on you, though, as you were saying earlier, Mash, if you then do lose a few quick wickets and you haven't gone anywhere, and at some point you do have to score runs.
Tony, what's your stance?
I quite admire the more cautious England approach, providing obviously you do put runs on the board ultimately. The issue is if you start to lose wickets and you're slow, people will get at you. On the other hand, if you build a foundation, it's not always about being like a bullet from a gun in the first 2 hours of the morning's play.
No, I mean, there is very much a middle ground. I think England might have slightly overcorrected in an effort to try and reintroduce some solidity, but I think from this base you can work in, scoring a few more singles and being and keeping the scoreboard ticking and being solid and seeing off the new ball are not mutually exclusive, and it's what the best openers do.
Yeah.
As Holder is continuing a little bit of wobble and just not quite there for the drive, and Stokes blocks into the offside. There is no run. This is a young attack or the top 3 in Test terms. None of Crawley, Burns, or Sibley have played a huge amount of Test cricket, and certainly not together. And if England just need to give this opening 3 a run for a little while and let them
Zach
work.
Crawley got a real lesson today, didn't he? In 70 something in the last game, was it 76?
Yeah,
he made?
Very good.
And then a first baller today, straight after lunch, we'd had a chance to get his eye in, facing a spinner when he probably wouldn't have been expecting to. Penny for the thoughts of Joe Denley when that catch was taken.
Well, I mean, it's almost the same ball that Joe Denley clipped to short mid-wicket in the second innings. Just maybe a little bit more turn. There's definitely something happening behind the bowler's arm with Ben Stokes. A long chat about the change to the field.
I think the invisible man was moving.
He's come over the wickets to Ben Stokes. He's very full and wide, trying to tempt Ben Stokes into a big booming charging drive, but Stokes is not tempted into a big booming charging drive, and he leaves it through to Dowrick. There is no run. Of course, Holder got Stokes in both innings at the Aegeus Bowl. A good delivery in the first innings, but just wobbled away, and then a very clever piece of bowling in the second when Stokes walked at him, and Holder got one to wobble in the air and then seam away, and drawing Stokes into a walking push to the slip cordon. Stokes, of course, got Holder in the first innings. Very full delivery, a little bit of swing away from the right-hander, and Stokes blocks this from the crease into the offside, and there is no run.
Very interesting, really. I mean, Southampton was seen as the battle of the all-rounders because, of course, they were both captain. So it'll be interesting to see how this battle of the all-rounders goes when Stokes is relieved of those additional responsibilities as captain, because he definitely came up second best in Southampton on that occasion.
Yes, took some wickets in the first innings, although I think he was probably flattered by his figures. Fuller and swinging into the left-hander this time. Very clever from Jason Holder. He's managed to get the ball to move both ways very early on. Stokes blocks solidly up to Kemar Roach at mid-on, wiping his brow and transferring sweat onto the ball, which he then transfers onto the back of the trousers, trying to get that shine on this ball, which is now in its 37th over. Interesting to see if this pitch does dry out, if we get some reverse swing at some point later in this test match. Very early days for that. Of course, Stokes is batting a good sort of foot outside of his crease to Jason Holder, which a lot of batters do when the ball is swinging. Very full delivery, a little bit of movement back into the right-hander. Stokes is not tempted, leaves alone through to Shane Dowrich. There is no run. Certainly an attempt for England to put in work that will be rewarded later.
Getting some good carry though, Holder.
Yep, from that.
Not the quicker of the seam bowlers, but because of that extra height and bounce that he gets, it's going through to Dowrich at above shoulder height a lot of the time.
Yeah, even when those balls are very full, and the catch that we saw it from Joseph actually, the catch that Jason Holder took, which was almost off a Yorker outside off stump, he took it shoulder height, took it very neatly indeed with those big hands. Very good slip field of Jason Holder. Last ball of the over. He's gone round the wicket now, but that's too wide outside off stump. Stokes leaves through to the keeper. England 90 for 3 in this very much attritional, feeling each other out period of this test match after 37 overs having been put into bat. Reminder that, of course, you are listening to Guerrilla Cricket's coverage of West Indies Tour of England. It's not too long before tea on day one of the second test. West Indies lead the series 1-0. Reminder, of course, that you can watch us on Hot Mic. You can sync us up with your TV pictures and also follow the commentary even when you navigate to another app on your phone. Go to the Hot Mic app on iOS or Android, or go to app.hotmic.io on desktop and use the code GCRadio at sign up. Thank you. Joseph continuing this longish spell from Joseph and Holder, the two more accurate and economical of the West Indies seamers, too wide of off stump. Sibley's not going to be tempted, leaves alone through to the keeper. There is no run.
It's T410, I believe it is, isn't it?
425.
Oh, it is 425. Okay.
It's 425 because we're trying to make up some time after we lost an hour and a half this morning. The Nkrumah Bonner's on the field, the subfielder, the uncapped Jamaican who had a good year in domestic cricket. Shannon Gabriel is off the field, we believe, with a possible niggle that might be looked at. Good tight delivery to off stump from Alzarri Joseph. A little bit of gentle swing. Sibley defends with the full face of the bat back to the bowler. There is no run.
A shout out to Crit Tracker, shout out Erison May, Madudka, who says a lot depends on this pair. If England are to reach a safe score, say around 250, I think they'll substantially more than that. Keep alive in the series, and Niaz says nice.
As Joseph comes in, goes a little wider on the crease and bowls very full, a little bit of swing again, and that's again. It's harsh. It's easy to say this. That was a half volley, and Sibley just blocked it to cover. There is no run. Perhaps cognizant of what happened to his captain.
Was it a slower ball as well? It seemed to take an age in the air.
I don't think it was a deliberate slower ball, but it did seem to rather sort of slowly arc its way towards the crease.
So the swing was very gentle and non-threatening, and it was rather defensively prodded at by Sibley, wasn't it?
3 slips and a gully. That's exactly where Sibley likes it, but fielded at squarish mid-wicket. Sibley will be annoyed with himself missing out on the half volley swinging into his pads. This is what can happen sometimes when you get into this mode of just blocking. Sibley could do with a little bit more subtlety in the angling of his bat to make sure that his good shots miss fielders. There is no run. It's the kind of thing that can lead to a wicket, being frustrated with your best shot. 3 slips and a gully away, long leg in place, backward point, cover mid-off, mid-on, and that man at squarish mid-wicket. 2 balls left of this over from Alzarri Joseph, trying to tempt Sibley into having a go at this after clipping straight to mid-wicket, but Sibley isn't tempted. There is no run. Frustrating, Tony, for a batter when you hit your favourite shot, but it goes straight to the fielder.
Well, yes. I mean, and I was thinking possibly for Gabriel, but maybe he had an injury issue. Just so much that went right in Southampton wasn't clicking today, and that's a frustration in itself.
Last ball of the over.
Fine margins.
Indeed. This time Sibley does get one of his pads and does manage to find the gap, only to the tune of 1 run though. Not trying to hit it particularly hard, the man at mid-wicket field. Sibley will keep the strike. He's on 38. Stokes on 7, and England, after 38 overs, having been put in by Jason Holder, the first time that any any captain has won the toss and bowled first at Old Trafford since 1993. England are 90 for 3.
Tweets Jay Grover says Rumshot Diaries is mint. Appreciate the HST reference. I don't know what HST is, Jay.
Hunter S. Thompson?
I have no idea, but Jay, do let me know. Muttley's got some new sausages in, so good for him.
Woof!
That dastardly hound. And Anna Forsyth says one gross consequence of these biosecure tests is the amount we've talked about back sweat. Turns out Best is the sweatiest member of the team, which might help him being selected.
Jason Holder continuing this pretty long spell from the James Anderson end. That's full, and Sibley isn't going to miss out on too many more of those. That's a very full delivery, and he punches this nicely into the offside. They should get 3 on this slowish outfield, and they do indeed come through for 3. He moves into the 40s with that shot. 41 for Dom Sibley. Stokes on 7. 94 for 3. Mash. Sorry, Tony. Mash, what's the change? Actually, I'll put this around the room. Would you make a change at this point, at some point before tea in the next couple of overs or so? And if so, who?
I would say I wouldn't be averse to giving Ruston Chase another wheel in. Wickets either side of lunch, and seems to have the force with him today. Why not?
Round the wicket goes Holder to Ben Stokes. So he bounces on him a little bit, but he plays it nicely, just fending it down the corner to long leg, moving to 8 runs. Yeah, I saw some stats that somebody put out. He averages 30 against England and 46 against everybody else. And he has had Dom Sibley in trouble, as have a number of spinners. Sibley gets a little bit stuck against the spinners sometimes. I think that's not a bad shout. Mash, do you agree? Get Ruston Chase on for a spell?
I'd probably make a double change.
What, and get Roach back on?
Yeah. It's only, 20 minutes before lunch? Unless they're saving Roach for a burst after lunch, in which case it's Ruston.
Tea. Lunch is gone.
Tea.
Oh, sorry,
yeah, it's still 25 minutes yet to tea. Holders in to Sibley. Again, this one bounces a little bit from a length, and he plays this well, actually. Sort of Dom Sibley gets in line with it and blocks it into the onside, and Kruma Bonner with a pair of sunglasses on the back of his head, where they can't be doing very much good in fields, and they come through for a single. You do wonder why he's got bothering with the sunglasses at all, unless they're Jason Holders.
They may well be, actually.
Is he a good fielder in Kruma Bonner?
Not seen enough of him in the field to be able to comment, I must say.
Right.
He's certainly more mobile than Rakeem Cornwall, though, so I understand.
Yeah. Cornwall and his giant hands at slip. As Holder comes in, no mean slip fielder himself, as we just talked about. Continuing round the wicket to Ben Stokes. Ooh, that's a very full delivery, and one that just tempted Stokes. Only 79 miles an hour, and that's the sort of shot that ball that Stokes could have had a big flash at. He doesn't flash at it, just defends it into the offside. There is no run. Stokes is, of course, capable of soaking up pressure and suddenly transferring it back onto the bowlers, as we saw at Headingley, 3 off 76, and then scored at nearly a run a ball for his next 140 balls. Bonner in the leg side is a little bit shorter than an orthodox mid wicket, and a little bit squarer. Stokes defends this with the full face of the bat, standing up tall and dropping it into the onside. There is no run.
So Jay has got back and said, and apologies, Jay, I didn't even realise we did not name the Run Shot Diaries after Hunter S. Thompson, who I've now been told was the author of the Run Diaries. So, no, that wasn't our inspiration. I would have thought someone like Charles Bukowski would have written something like the Run Diaries. That's another story.
Fear and Loathing in New Cross. As last ball of the over from Jason Holder. That's a beauty from Holder. Wobbling in from round the wicket, and then seemed quite alarmingly past the outside edge of Ben Stokes, who was nowhere near it in the end. Very good end to a slightly loose over from Holder, England 96 for 3.
Why
seen that much?
Sorry,
oh yeah, it did. Look at that. It really moved off the...
especially with that angle from round the wicket. That looks as though it's going towards middle stump, and then beats Ben Stokes on the outside edge. Very well bowled by the West Indian captain.
Martin White says, this match seems like the cricketing equivalent of two dogs uncertainly smelling each other's arses.
Test cricket, mate. There's a long
There's
time
an
to
analogy you
happen.
don't find on the BBC.
Leah says, I'm with Tony. Ruston. I agree. Ruston should be getting a twirl out here right now.
And I'd like to see him go round the wicket when he does. Alzari Joseph is continuing over the wicket to the right-handed Dom Sibley on 42. Very full delivery. Sibley leaves alone through to the keeper. There is no run. Trying to test Alzari Joseph's patience just as much as Joseph is testing his. It's an interesting sort of setting up period of the game, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, 39, nearly 40 overs in. We're halfway through the life of this ball. I think we're sort of slightly beyond the setting up period. England will be upset with themselves for those 3 wickets, but well played to the West Indies, because, as I've said more than once, they picked them off at the right moments and never let England get away.
Joseph in very full delivery, which Sibley could have thought about working to leg, but it did just swing late, and he plays it with the full face of the bat up to mid-on, who's quite close to the bat and a little bit wider. There is no run. Yeah, those 2 wickets and 2 balls to Ruston Chase kind of seem to belong to a different match, honestly. I said this earlier. I don't think, Joseph aside, I don't think the rest of the fast bowlers have bowled that well. Certainly Gabriel has been all over the place.
I saw a bit of discussion on another channel about the pitch, and there's a fair amount of moisture, which was helping Roston and might just die out for a little while until.
Wider on the crease goes Alzari Joseph, using the crease very well, back of a length, and simply blocks off the back foot up to mid-on. There is no run. You wouldn't think
a little bit of moisture and springiness. Today, this morning, probably through till tea, and then it may die a little bit more, but then should dry out well, bringing spinners into the game sort of days 4 and 5.
So
I think it was using the conditions at the right time in the right way by Roston Chase.
It's a sort of drying pitch, the kind Derek Underwood used to be so dead lethal on. That was a sort of off cutter actually from Joseph, that last delivery. Clever stuff. This time very full and very wide and left through to the keeper. There is no run. You wouldn't think moisture in the pitch would help a spinner, but maybe it's just, I guess if it seems it spins.
Yeah, but he's. People say he's not a big turner of the ball, but then I was with Hendo earlier. It's just subtle movement, changes of flight, and he does enough. He'd taken an 8-for, didn't he, against England?
Yes, he did. Although I will bring you a stat after that about that 8-for after this.
He averages about 40-something for his wickets overall.
Well, that's a full toss, which Sibley really should have punched away through cover, but he's late on the stroke and just blocks it to mid-on. There is no run. Crickviz have an expected wicket stat where they put in all of the factors about a particular delivery and assess the probability of it taking a wicket based on similar deliveries. That spell had an expected wicket of under 2, and it took 8. I think the scoreboard pressure had a lot to do with it. But yeah, you and I and Hendo were on earlier, and the illusion of turn is often just as vital as the actual turn. Sibley leaves alone with a slight sort of Ricky Ponting-esque wipe of the bat in front of his face through to the keeper. There is no run. A not terribly threatening maiden from Alzari Joseph. 40 overs gone, England 96 for 3.
Boy Pom says this is proper cricket. Leah says, Knackle, have you been reading the Cricket Monthly today?
I haven't read it today. What have I missed?
I don't know. It might be something. It might be related to that Crickviz thing that you just said. Leah sends a great picture where says Sibley and Stokes during that mix-up reminds you of primary school days, and then it's a note which says, do you want to take a run with me? And you have to tick yes, no, or maybe.
Well, we don't seem to be having that change just yet. Keepers standing back, which would be unusually cautious to Roston Chase. No, we do have a change of bowling, but it is a fast bowler for the West Indies, yet to take a wicket in the series.
Great jiggle there.
He ain't no weed. That Kemar Roach, he deals in speed.
There goes Kemar Roach.
Yeah, replaces Jason Holder at the James Anderson end. He's going round the wicket to the left-hander, which is very much his wont. Brilliant round the wicket to the left-handers. 2 slips in the gully in place. Roach in down the leg side, and another spill by Shane Dowrich. I think that was off thigh pad. They should be able to come through for 2. Yes, Stokes is very quick between the wickets. Anything from the umpire? No, but Stokes' score hasn't advanced, so it was indeed leg byes. A poor line from Kemar Roach, and off the thigh pad. And it's tough for the keepers because it just died on him. But Dowrich hasn't been as clean behind the stumps as he was at Southampton. 98 for 3. What's going on with Kemar, Mash?
Confidence, possibly. He just needs one. I think he takes one, he takes many.
As Roach is in, very full delivery, and Stokes a little bit late on this stroke, the timing a little bit off, but he blocks it firmly enough up to mid-on. There is no run.
He's not being as wayward as Gabriel was in his first spell. So, and like I say, what's that? 10 overs coming up to only 20 runs. So it's not like he's taking tap for it.
No, although in his first spell a lot of them were too wide to hit. He's been better in this in his second spell and what started his third spell thus far. Back of a length, and Stokes whips this into the leg side again. You wonder, can he whip that a little bit square or get that run through square leg? Went straight to mid wicket. There is no run. Being solid is all very good, or very well and good, but that doesn't mean you should turn. That doesn't mean you go completely strokeless. As you said, Tony, you do have to score some runs at some point.
No, very much so. I'm with Mash about one wicket might bring several. I mean, it wasn't that long ago he was rolling England with 5 for 17.
No, indeed, very different conditions, of course. Stokes walks into a drive as he's been doing throughout the series to Kemar Roach and punches this very firmly. But again, straight to mid-off, there is no run. I don't think this pitch is that easy to score on, just as yet.
Outfield will get quicker, so you might argue that could well work in the favour of the side batting second.
Possibly, I do think this pitch will take turn later. It's already starting to, actually. You can see some footmarks developing already. Roach in 2 balls after the over. He balls get through his overs pretty quickly for a fast bowler. This is very full and a little bit of swing, but mostly after it passes the stumps. Very wide off stump taken by Dowrich. There is no run.
He threw that very wide, didn't he, Roach? He has the air to me a little bit of a man who's trying different things to see if he can get just something to work for him. That one did seem to throw very wide.
Do you get the impression that he's trying to play on Stokes' ego a little bit?
Tease him into an injudicious stroke.
That's what I've been doing.
Last ball of the over from Roach, and Stokes again walks at Kemar Roach and advances outside off stump. Roach does well though, follows him, brings the ball outside off stump and through to the keeper it goes. Again, another not particularly threatening over, but a tight one. England 98 for 3 after 41 overs.
Roy says Sibley could be the cure for insomnia. Jay Grover, and Jay, you might need to clarify some element of this message. Brief, serious question. I listen more than I watch. How is Joseph? I hear conflicting reports from multiple media. So I don't know if you mean how is Joseph in terms of how is he bowling? Or so clarify that, please, Jay.
I think he means how is he bowling, because he's not got the benefit of visuals. He's more listening to us rather than seeing us on Facebook or seeing it on a TV channel.
Alzari Joseph is very calm and very consistent. He's got a lovely rhythmical action. There's not a lot of wasted energy. Full delivery outside off stump. There is no run. You get the impression that with a few technical tweaks, you could even add a couple of miles an hour. Just use that front arm a bit more. You've got to lock that front knee a little bit. I'm sure interesting to ask Gladstone Small, who we're talking to at T-Day. He'll be talking to Gladstone Small. I don't know if we're talking to Gladstone Small, Toby Radford and Vinod Momchan, in which case this is going to be a very congested tea time panel. But we're certainly talking to Gladstone Small, who knows his fast bowling. Alzari Joseph, the Antiguan, into Dom Sibley, the Surrey man transplanted to Warwickshire. This is on the pads where Sibley likes it, and he turns this into the leg side. They'll certainly get 2, and it will only be 2. A good chase from the man at mid-wicket and hurls the ball back in. Sibley moves to 44. The 100 up for England, 100 for 3 after 41.2 overs.
Cricket's rather extraordinary so early in the game. Has England at 70%? I'm sure Mash wouldn't agree with that. Would you, Mash?
70% to what? To win?
Win, you mean?
I mean, that's an extraordinary early shout.
It is.
I wonder how much that's changed since the start of the test. As third ball of the over, and Sibley stands up tall and blocks this into the onside again. Just that little bit of extra, and this will come as he gets into his career. But he's just punched that straight to mid wicket. It's a very good net shot, but just drop the hands, turn the face a little bit square, and there's an easy single through square leg there. But wasn't able to find it. There is no run. I go back to Marcus Trescothick at the start of his career was a very watchful player. He didn't play all of his shots that we know he had, and kind of grew into his career over the course of his first year or so in Test cricket. There's still plenty of time for Dom Sibley. Joseph is in shortish outside off stump, and it lollops through to Shane Dowrich at waist height. There is no run.
I'm not actually to give Dom Sibley his due. Look, he's 44 not out from what is it now, 133. If he goes on to make a century, he's done his job.
Absolutely.
If he's out for 52 off 200 balls, then I'm questioning, well, was it all worth it?
Yeah.
So
just come to that after this ball, as ever, as Joseph is in full delivery, and Sibley squirts this off the outside part of the bat. Well fielded at third or fourth slip, and there is no run. As ever, you must assess an innings which is a little bit unfair based on how other batters do, right? So if someone else scores runs reasonably quickly, that 50 off 200 becomes actually very valuable. But then if no one else can capitalise on it, you start to think, what was he doing out there? Tony was shaking his head because we're seeing the dismissal of the England captain Joe Root, who had played pretty well, but then got suckered into driving at a wide one from Alzari Joseph and giving a good catch to Jason Holder. That's a good lead from Dom Sibley. It was tightish to off stump, but he leaves it on length and it wobbles through to the keeper, and there is no running. Then 100 for 3 after 42 overs.
Tweets. Jay Grover's. Wait, give me 1 second. Oh, Jay's just saying, thank you. Please ask Gladstone for me. Still my favourite childhood cricketer. I think he means in relation to Alzari, which is what you were referring to earlier, Naffle. And I think that's it on the tweet front for now. I shall just head over to Crick Tracker. Bear with me 1 second.
That was the first time I've seen that route dismissal, I must confess, because I was off doing other things when that happened, and he really did. It was a bit loose, wasn't it?
Well, it was neither one thing nor the other, really. He wasn't really committed to the drive. It's a full delivery from Kemar Roach and angling into the the left-hander Ben Stokes, and round the wicket through to the keeper. There is no run. He didn't really go at it particularly hard. He didn't try and absolutely smash it, and he was sort of half into the shot. His weight was not quite going through the ball, and as a result, he edges it through to Jason Holder. Either lead it or really hit it, and he did really neither.
Well, 3 figures on the board always makes the world look a little shinier for the batting team.
Very full delivery, the kind of delivery that wasn't too far away from what Joe Root drove at and got caught. Not quite as full. Stokes leaves through to the keeper. There is no run. Just over 10 minutes to go till tea. I would be very surprised if we don't see Roston Chase for at least a couple of overs. Probably for Alzari Joseph, who's bowled a pretty long spell.
Yeah, I was hazarding a guess that was the last of his spell just then.
I think Holder got himself off at the right time as well. He was not as economical as he had been. That's a poor delivery from Kemar Roach, well wide of off stump, and Ben Stokes leaves through to the keeper. There is no run. It's quite an interesting passage to play this. Both teams are sort of feeling each other out like the boxers in the early stages of a bout, but neither is actually putting all that much pressure on each other yet. It's hard to read. It's making for an interesting sort of analytical challenge. 2 slips in the gully, backward point, cover, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket and long leg. Stokes again walking across to off-stump, and again Kemar Roach going wider of off-stump, following Ben Stokes, and it's through to the keeper. There is no run. Stokes is desperate to punch Kemar Roach through mid-on or mid-wicket, but Roach is not obliging. 100 for 3 after 42.4 overs.
I mean, as I think we're ahead on point.
We is the West Indies, I assume.
I think we're ahead on point, ever so slightly.
Roach continuing, and this is tighter to off stump, but Stokes leaves on length through to the keeper. There is no run. Stokes is walking to square leg in between deliveries.
I think you're closer to the real world match than perhaps our friends at Crickleys are in this early stage in the game. 70% England's way is, I don't know, I'm not sure what colour spectacles they're wearing, but
I wonder how much.
Quite hard to see through.
I wonder what it was at the start of the Test match, and how. I'm struggling to see how any of what we've seen would have changed anyone's opinion thus far from what it was at the start of the Test match. Honestly, this, as I say, this has been a slightly sort of cautious, going for points style start of the Test match for both teams. Left alone outside off stump. Fairly unthreatening maiden from Kemar Roach. England 100 for 3 after 43.
Shout out to Vipin, Satyam and Victor, who are having a conversation over on Crit Tracker about whether it's going to rain or not on Saturday. We shall see how that all unfolds. And over on Twitter, we've got Anna Forsyth saying Knuckle makes an excellent point on Sydney. If he's slowly building an innings and being a steady partner, he needs to have someone actually scoring at the other end. Otherwise, he's just wasting time.
Or speed up himself. I think we might be. Sorry, I think we might be getting that change. There's certainly a helmet has come out for someone to go under the lid. Does that herald the arrival of the demon non-turning off spinner, the scourge of England? Yes, it does.
Yeah, Roston Chase, and what do you get? Cricketer of village in Somerset. I did some research and well done. So now that he's a man, that son of a gun.
Got Rory Burns with the non-turning off break that he played for turn with and was hit on the pad. Burns wasted his review, and then the very next ball, which it turns out was the other side of lunch, Crawley turned one straight to Jason Holder at short leg for no runs. 2 for 13 off his 5 overs thus far, Roston Chase.
I wonder if Richard Illingworth whispers in his ear, let me tell you about the time I got Viv Richards out.
Well, there's a light meter been brought out to Richard Illingworth by the third umpire. Oh no, by the reserve umpire. Sorry, Alex Worf. And he's taking that reading now. So this will be the benchmark for the rest of proceedings. We can, of course, go on until 7:30 this evening if light permits, but I don't think light will permit today. So obviously we'll keep you posted on that. Richard Illingworth, who is umpiring at the Brian Statham end.
Is this where we get to complain about how Test cricket still hasn't worked out, that if you've got floodlights on you can still play cricket?
Someone did mention that at the point that the floodlights take over you could switch to the pink ball. Which would be an interesting one.
Wow.
It's a
Look how that field is loaded.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a very leg side dominant field. I'll give it to you after this ball from Roston Chase. He starts over the wicket to Dom Sibley, which I think is a mistake. That's outside off stump, trying to get Sibley to work against the spin, what little spin there is, and he blocks it on the bounce to gully. There is no. I think it might be a 2-7 leg side field. And certainly I can see a slip and a mid-off. There might be a deep point in place, but there's lots of close catches around the bat, including a leg slip and a short leg. Is that caught at short leg? I think it's dropped at short leg. That would have been a fantastic catch, because Sibley's worked this off the middle of the bat, and I'm not sure who that is under the lid at short leg. Did frankly pretty well to get hands on. Yeah, it's just hit him in the midriff and right off the middle of the bat. Those stick or they don't, but technically Dom Sibley dropped on 44. Shamar Brooks, thank you, Mash. As Chase is in very full delivery, and that's beaten him on the outside half the bat. What on earth is Shane Dowrich appealing for?
That is 3 in a row that he's completely troubled Sibley with.
Yeah, the one that turns and the one that doesn't. I'm really not sure what Dowrich is appealing for, because if it's hit the pad, it's a long way outside off stump.
Yeah,
I think Dowrich thought he bowled him,
which it didn't by about
3
a stump.
balls. One, because of that leg side field, he tried to push to the offside. There's a slip there. Second one could easily have stuck under a forward short leg, and then again attacked the off stump and beats the bat with the third one. Roston's on top here. Yeah,
he's planned this very well, and this is nudged again to short leg, but on the bounce, or it really rolls along the ground, and there is no run. Sibley's got no get-out shot here. We're seeing this shout from Dowrich, which, again, clipped the back leg well outside the line of off stump and not turning back enough to hit the stumps. This is a full delivery. With this field, you've got to be punching that down the ground or into the offside, really, don't you, Dom Sibley? That's a half volley, which he's just nudged into the leg side, playing into Roston Chase's hands a little bit, as he has done against the spinners throughout his career. Last ball of what's been a good, well-planned over from Roston Chase. That's 2 full, and it's punched through that leg side field. There's also a shortish mid-wicket and an orthodox mid-wicket, and a man back at deep mid-wicket. So plenty of fielders on the leg side, plus the mid-on. Sibley will get 2 off that one. He moves to 46. 102 for 3, England, after 44 overs. Interesting stuff. Well planned by Roston Chase.
Well, it was. I mean, that was exactly the over, apart from not taking the wicket. It was exactly the over he was brought on for, that packed leg side field, and then immediately throw a little tempter to, almost force Sibley to play towards slip, which he did. The forward short leg was right in the game. I don't think there was any ball in that over you could say, bar probably the last one, that Sibley played with any comfort. So well played, Roston Chase, and well captained Jason Holder.
Yeah, indeed, he's read the situation very well throughout the series, and we're seeing a little bit of Ben Stokes sort of being caught on the walk a little bit throughout the series and the South Africa series. Something to watch. We've got probably time for one more over, given that it'll be a fast bowler bowling this, and then we'll go to tea. David Brooke talking to a gallery of West Indies stars. West Indies expert stars, including we're going to part-time spin, and I think Mash might have called this. It's this man, taker of a rather unlikely 6-for.
My spelling ain't strong. Can you tell me if I spelled your name?
Craig Brathwaite, even more of a part-time off-spinner than Roston Chase, is around the wicket to Ben Stokes, who yawns and then leaves this out through to the keeper. I think this is an attempt to get one more over in before tea, and it will probably work, unless England can be quite clever here. Stokes forward to this one and punches it to skipper Holder at short extra cover. There is no, Craig Brathwaite did take a 6 throw against Bangladesh a little while ago. Slip and a forward short leg in place. That's a horrible delivery from Craig Brathwaite, well wide of off stump, and Stokes leaves through to the keeper. There is no run. I think there might be a little bit of tactical tying of shoelaces and walking away to square leg from Stokes and Sibley, and punching gloves and gardening to try and make sure that there's only one over left. It's a full delivery. A little bit of drift from Craig Brathwaite, punched to Holder at extra cover. There is no run.
He also has a 6 for 29 against Sri Lanka in Colombo.
Sorry, yes, it was against Sri Lanka. That's short and cut by Ben Stokes. There is a deep point out there for a little bit of protection. They come through for a single. Stokes moves to 9. When I say West Indies legends, of course, Gladstone Small from Barbados, but did fine work for England and, of course, for Warwickshire. So we'll be hearing from Gladstone, friend of the show. One ball left of this over. I think we probably will get another one over in before tea.
Well, that was the idea. I mean, if you'd just seen the way Chase had bowled at Sibley, you'd wanted to give him another chance, and the best way to do that was to have a very short over in between.
Last ball of this over from Craig Brathwaite. This let's get one more over in, and it's full on leg stump and simply turns it to square leg. There is no run. It's 4:23 p.m, so we will get one more over in. England 103 for 3, Sibley on 46. Stokes will be on strike for this over, which I think is probably a good news for England.
Over on Twitter, Nia says, I don't get how win vids of England at 70% when they are 103 for 3 and the average first innings score is 430 plus. I will be in the C says, I think only West Indies can force advantage in this game today. England could still pretty much lose the game with quick wickets in the last session and even before lunch tomorrow, and we are in holding formation until lunch tomorrow. I don't think this holding formation will last the rest of the day. I think England would be foolish to still play like this in the last session.
I think something one thinks is going to give after tea. It's been been quite some time, over an hour since the last boundary that England have hit, which I think might have been a 4 down to third man. Ben Stokes is facing up on 9 to Roston Chase, 2 for 15 off 6, and really troubled Dom Sibley in that last over. Slip and a gully and a forward short leg in place, and Stokes, I think, will probably want to take the strike for this over. He turns this from a good length to mid-wicket, and there is no run.
I think Chase wants Stokes off strike. Ideally serve up some nonsense to give him one.
Chase, well, never mind that. He's on strike, I suppose, so it's done the trick. Down the track comes Ben Stokes, and the first 6 of the series is bashed back over Roston Chase's head into the stands.
Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6.
Might well have got money on Ben Stokes being the first to hit a 6 in the series. I'm not sure whether you would have said it would be a minute before tea on day 1 of the second test.
There to be hit it.
Yeah, it was
I think that might have been the ball that Mash was talking about to try and lure Stokes out of his bolt hole.
A beautiful shot from Ben Stokes, and the next one is, oh my lord, much shorter and turns sharply, and Stokes takes one hand off the bat as he gets done by the sheer lack of pace, and almost spoons a catch to Nkrumah Bonner at mid-on. It bounces well short of him. There is no run. Did this take a little bit out of the pitch? Hard to say, but it certainly caught Stokes unawares.
I think Stokes was playing for a different delivery, was he not?
A better delivery, I think. Fourth ball of the over is very full, and a little bit of drift from Roston Chase. That's well bowled though, and Stokes trying to work this to mid-on, and it squirts off the outside part of the bat to, I think, Craig Brathwaite at short extra cover. There is no run. This is good stuff from Roston Chase.
I think he'll take that 6 as acceptable collateral damage, given the way that the context of the over.
Yeah, I think so. 2 balls left from Chase to Stokes. That's a horrible delivery down the leg side. Again, I think, Mash, that might have been delivery to try and get Stokes on strike, but Stokes has got enough on it that he's managed to turn it away very fine. Good chase from the man at slip, and I think they come through for 3 there. I think they might have. They have come through for 3, so none of this protecting Dom Sibley nonsense. Stokes moves to 18, and Sibley will face up to Roston Chase. Last ball before tea on 46. It was a good bit of work from the man running back from the cordon. Is that Campbell?
Chase wanted this one ball to just dismiss Sibley right on tea.
Yeah, I think so.
Another one straight after tea. History
so
repeating.
we've got leg slip, short leg, sort of man on the 45, man at mid-wicket, man at deep mid-wicket, man at straightish mid-wicket, and a man at mid-on, but Sibley defends this back to the bowler. There is no run, and Roston Chase continuing to make things happen. England are relatively okay poised. It's really hard to read this one, honestly. 112 for 3 after 46 overs. Just over 2.5 runs and over for the session, this 32.4 over elongated session. 83 runs and 2 wickets. The wickets to fall. Joe Root, the England captain, went flashing a very full delivery and edged it through to Jason Holder to give Alzari Joseph his first wicket of the match. He went for 23 off 49. And of course the very first ball of the session, Zach Crawley turned one around the corner to Roston Chase for a golden duck. We've got Dom Sibley on 46 closing in on what would be I think a third 50 plus score of his test career, and Ben Stokes is on 18 not out. England 112 for 3. This tea time we're going to go to Dave Brooke, and we're going to go to Vinod Momchan of the Trinidad Guardian, and we're going to go to our friend Gladstone Small.
Thank you very much indeed, Knuckle, and a great session there of good test match cricket, and someone who knows a thing or two about test match cricket is the man who's played for England many times, Gladstone Small. Hello, Gladstone. Anyone mute your microphone, please, and we can all hear you and see you and take the camera off, whatever.
I think.
Gladstone, are you receiving me? I can see you're here, but just need to unmute your microphone in the traditional manner. Whilst you're doing that, Gladstone, can I say this tea interval? It comes to you in association with a very important charity called First, which is all about sustainable tea in India. It's set up by been established by my very good friend Shabita Banerjee, and it really is a very worthwhile charity. First, it's called, and they're sponsoring this tea time show. It's all about sustainable tea in India. A very worthwhile cause. So do look out for that. That's First for this tea time show. So everything stops for tea. And have we got Gladstone on the? Have we got Gladstone there? Gladstone, are you?
Good afternoon. Good
Hello,
afternoon.
Brad.
Hello. Good afternoon. How are we all?
Oh, we're good, thank you. Is that a lockdown beard you've got there, Glad?
Yeah, try to hide. Try to hide, fella.
Yeah. Now, normally during a test series, Gladstone, I would expect to find you in the hospitality boxes, doing all the corporate thing. You're very involved in cricket travel business and hospitality. The lockdown must have had a big impact on your business.
It certainly has. David. Obviously, good to see live sport back on TV with the cricket and the football. But obviously, yes, I would have been planning to be going lots of things further afield. We've been luckily with my Black Opal travel business. We don't actually do much. Obviously, the summer months is based mainly here in the UK. Where, as you mentioned, I'll normally be probably at Old Trafford, about to have an afternoon G&T or something of that ilk. Well,
ever stayed in the hotel overlooking Old Trafford there, Gladstone? You been in that hotel?
No, that hotel is a new installment at Old Trafford. So I've not been there. It looks good though. The ground looks very good. I think when they first put that that red letterbox, the point that they call it, I think. When they first put it on the ground, it looked out of place because the ground was still positioned in a north to south position rather than east-west, or it might be the other way around. And now that they've changed it all around and repositioned the ground and put in the hotel and the new cricket players pavilion, it now looks a really lovely cricket ground in Old Trafford.
Well,
they've done a good job there.
If you want to stage test matches in a biosecure environment, I guess you've got to have a hotel rather than a conference centre.
I'm sure when they built the hotel, they didn't build it to be staging cricket just for players and officials only. I thought normally it's built for the fans and the spectators, and to give them a good experience as well.
Well, I bet Edgbaston wish it had a hotel rather than lots of corporate boxes. They need a hotel, don't they? Otherwise, they're not going to stage a test match.
But strangely enough, it was part of the plan. It was part of the plan when Edgbaston was first being rejigged and remodeled. It was a hotel was part of the idea as well. I bet they're wishing that they had stuck to that original plan.
Well, it's wonderful to have you on, Gladstone, and also wonderful to have joining us all the way from Trinidad and Tobago, the man from San Fernando on the south coast of Trinidad, Mr. Vinod Manchan from the Trinidad Guardian and Cricket 360. Welcome along, Vinod.
Thanks a lot, guys, and a good day to everyone, especially Gladstone Small, West Indian.
They're trying to claim you.
A Bayesian Englishman.
Yeah, well, you came to England at the age of 14, Gladstone, didn't you?
Yes, a long time ago, and I'm still here. So I must like something about the place.
Well, absolutely. So let's just talk about this game and the series. First of all, I'm interested to get you guys the view. Let's have the view from Trinidad first, then, Vinod. What have you made of what you've seen, so far today, as West Indies go for their first series for what would be a momentous series win if they were to win this match?
Well, I thought that although England at this point,
can I ask you to speak up, please? It's a little bit quiet. Thanks.
Yes. At this point in time, England 3 down for 112, so the West Indies would think that they would have done well. I was a bit puzzled though by the fact that the West Indies decided to bowl first this morning on winning the toss. Given the nature of this track, the history of the track at Old Trafford, you don't want to be batting last there. And already Ruston Chase has been getting 2 wickets. So although England have lost 3 wickets, I think it's not all that bad at this point in time for England. If they can get up to 280, it's going to be very competitive.
Well, Ben Stokes has certainly looked very, very solid there, hasn't he? And Dominic Sibley, Warwickshire man, Gladstone. You're the man of Warwickshire. What have you, have you taken to Dominic Sibley and his place in the England team?
Absolutely. He's obviously came in South Africa. So he's only still in very much in the early stages of his Test career, but he just plays the same way that he does and has done for a couple of years in county cricket. Very good at concentrating, stays off new ball and just quietly accumulate his runs. I don't think he's going to clear many bars to watch him back, but he but he does the job. He knows his scoring areas. He's obviously very strong off his leg stump, off middle of the leg, off his pads, and he just leaves the ball outside his off stump and let the bowlers bowl into his zones, and he leaves the ball really well. So he's a quiet accumulator, and so far he looks solid. So yes, I think just what you need at the start of the innings. You need someone to take that shine off the ball, to nullify the pace and the movement. So then you can start what he needs, and I'm sure he will do. Listen, he's actually got a very good one-day white ball record as well. So he has got shots, and I'm sure that the more he get used and accustomed to the international environment, and I'm sure he will start to open up his strokes repertoire and to score even more prolifically than he has done. So but good start to Dom. Keep it going.
Yeah, so in summary, you're saying he's a solid performer, but you wouldn't put down your gin and tonic if he was batting in order to come out and watch him.
Oh, it will need to be a seat with a view of the cricket.
Yeah, you want to combine. You want to combine both. Vinod, the man from Trinidad, Shannon Gabriel, has left the field. How concerned are you about that?
I'm a bit concerned. It seems preliminary information coming to hand. It seems to be a groin injury. One hopes that it's not. But given the fact that you're playing Test matches with just a 3-day break in between, we're seeing England, they're rostering their players. The West Indies